Chapter 410. Just as Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao were about to leave, Huang Kershen suddenly called out, Big brother Xiao Jin. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao stopped. Huang Kershen ran over and hugged Lu Yiping. Big brother, will we be able to meet again in the future? Chen Zifeng and Chen Yitao jumped in shock when they saw Huang Kershen hugging Lu Yiping. Immortal Emperor Zi Yang was a late-stage immortal emperor, but Lu Yiping sent him flying with a flick of his finger. It was clear that Lu Yiping was a heavenly venerate expert. Heavenly venerates were supreme existences in the immortal world. How could a little girl like Huang Kershen blaspheme them so easily? Just as Chen Zifeng and Chen Yitao were about to pull Huang Kershen away, Lu Yiping waved his hand at the two of them, indicating that he was fine. Lu Yiping rubbed Huang Kershen's head and smiled, of course we will meet again. When Big Brother has time in the future, I will visit you at the Chen family's headquarters. Huang Kershen smiled happily, alright, then I will wait for Big Brother and Big Brother Xiao Jin at the Chen family's headquarters. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao smiled. Under Huang Kershen's reluctant gaze, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao flew into the sky and disappeared in the blink of an eye. After the two of them left for a long time, Chen Zifeng and Chen Yitao stood up. Chen Zifeng looked at the direction Lu Yiping disappeared and didn't move his gaze away for a long time. He was guessing Lu Yiping's identity. After a long time, Chen Zifeng retracted his gaze and looked at the hundreds of black-robed men's corpses on the ground. His face sank. I didn't expect even the God-Devil Palace to submit to the Dark Borer race. The Dark Borer race wanted to unify the 10,000 worlds and wreak havoc in the various worlds. This was something that everyone knew. Therefore, the various experts in the 10,000 worlds didn't have a good impression of the Dark Borer race. Big brother, let's go back to the Chen family's main residence first, Chen Yitao said. Chen Zifeng nodded, and then he summoned his subordinates and ordered them to prepare to return to the Chen family's main residence immediately. After Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left Ziluo City, they activated the power of space-time Great Path and teleported continuously. Soon, they left the Cumulus mainland and arrived at the Lingshao mainland. The two of them rushed towards the God-Devil Palace without stopping. Just as Lu Yiping was heading towards the Divine Devil Palace, the Divine Devil Palace Master, Fan Xiaozhou, was studying a long sword with a group of Divine Devil Palace patriarchs. This sword was only as long as an infant's arm. The body of the sword was covered with densely packed teeth marks. These teeth marks were scattered in a picturesque manner. From afar, they looked like patterns. They had obtained this sword from a sect's treasury after they had annihilated it. After studying it for a while, they increasingly felt that this sword was the key to opening a certain treasure. However, they were still unable to activate the restriction within the sword. Don't these teeth marks look like constellations? An old ancestor of God-Devil Palace suddenly asked. Constellations? Fan Xiaozhou took a closer look. It looks like a star array diagram from the primordial era. Another old ancestor added. Just as Fan Xiaozhou and the rest were studying the sword, the God-Devil Palace shook violently, causing the entire palace to shake violently. The palace where Fan Xiaozhou and the rest were in began to crumble. Fan Xiaozhou and the rest flew out of the main hall in shock. Just as they flew out, the main hall behind them collapsed completely, turning into ruins. The Divine Devil Palace's experts were shocked and enraged. When they looked over, they saw that the other peaks of the Divine Devil Palace were also crumbling and collapsing. One by one, the palaces were buried by the collapsing peaks. As the peaks collapsed, sand and dust billowed. While the Divine Devil Palace's experts were still in shock and anger, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao passed through the sand and dust, walking towards the Divine Devil Palace's experts. Just as Fan Xiaozhou was about to speak, Taurus Longjiao suddenly punched out. In an instant, the Divine Devil Palace's space trembled, and divine lightning rumbled in the sky. Within the divine lightning, resplendent holy light shone. When Fan Xiaozhou and the rest saw the resplendent holy light within the divine lightning, their faces changed. Holy light. Then, They looked at Taurus Longjiao, Saint Realm expert. Fan Xiaozhou and the Divine Devil Palace's experts who were about to attack fled in panic. Indifferent to Fan Xiaozhou and the rest, Taurus Longjiao smiled when he saw Fan Xiaozhou and the rest trying to escape. At this time, the divine lightning in the sky arrived behind Fan Xiaozhou and the rest. When Fan Xiaozhou and the rest turned around, they saw the divine lightning in front of them. The Divine Devil Palace's experts were struck by the divine lightning, and exploded one after another. Fan Xiaozhou was blasted into the distant mountain range. Loud explosions shook the heavens, and the earth cracked. Hundreds of millions of Divine Devil Palace's disciples fled in a frenzy. Before they could see what Lu Yiping did, the storm formed and engulfed every corner of the Divine Devil Palace. Screams filled the air. Blood rained down. The Divine Devil Palace was in chaos. Some of the Divine Devil Palace's disciples hid underground, hoping to use the power of the ground to escape the disaster. However, the storm passed through the ground and nothing could stop it. Soon, the Divine Devil Palace regained its peace. Lu Yiping came to Fan Xiaozhou and pulled him out of the ruins. Fan Xiaozhou was on his last breath. He looked at Lu Yiping and asked, "Why? Why?" Indifferent to Fan Xiaozhou's question, Taurus Longjiao smiled and slapped Fan Xiaozhou's face, completely deforming it. "You know the Yinba clan, right?" Taurus Longjiao said, "Don't tell me you don't know them." Fan Xiaozhou was startled, then laughed, "There's no harm in telling you. Our Lord Holy Lord has joined forces with the Lord of the Demon World. The Demon World's army will invade the immortal world soon. Anyone who goes against our Lord Holy Lord will not have a good ending. It's not too late for you to submit to the Yinba clan now." Lu Yiping couldn't be bothered to talk nonsense with him. He retrieved his memory fragments, read them, and burned him to ashes with Dao fire. Lu Yiping frowned after killing Fan Xiaozhou. He thought Fan Xiaozhou knew about the Yinba clan's Holy Lord, but Fan Xiaozhou was just an insignificant character in the Yinba clan. The one who usually contacted Fan Xiaozhou was only an in-name disciple of the Yinba clan's Holy Lord. Moreover, the disciple in name of the Sacred Lord of the Dark Borer race wore a mask every time he contacted Fan Xiaozhou. Therefore, Fan Xiaozhou did not know the true identity of the disciple in name. He only knew that this disciple should be from the immortal world's heavenly court. Holy Lord, this old man hid very well. Even the Eden Valley didn't know where he was hiding. "I'm afraid the Lord of the Demon World doesn't know either," Taurus Longjiao said. Lu Yiping thought for a moment and said, "Let's go to Demon Bull Mountain first." Since he knew that the Yinba clan's Holy Lord's in-name disciple was in the immortal world's heavenly court, he could look for him when the time came. It didn't matter if he couldn't find him. If the Demon World's army invaded the immortal world, the Yinba clan's Holy Lord would definitely appear. However, just as Lu Yiping was about to leave, he suddenly saw a sword in the ruins in the distance. He walked forward and pulled the sword out of the ruins. "Is this the Buzhou Sky Sword?" Taurus Longjiao was surprised when he saw the sword full of teeth marks. The Buzhou Sky Sword was one of the immemorial Celestial Emperor's swords. Chapter 411. It is the Buzhou Sky Sword. Lu Yiping nodded. In the past few years, he had comprehended the 100 steels. There were records of the Buzhou Sky Sword in the steels, so Lu Yiping was certain that the tooth mark in front of him was the Buzhou Sky Sword. Moreover, Lu Yiping knew that there were two Buzhou Sky Swords. When the two Buzhou Sky Swords merged into one, they would be able to find the immemorial Heavenly Court's treasury. In the past, the immemorial Heavenly Court was attacked by the long-armed Divine Ape race and the Yinyang Borer race. The immemorial Heavenly Court's supreme treasure was destroyed and the whereabouts of the immemorial Heavenly Emperor's treasury were unknown. Until now, the long-armed Divine Ape race and the Yinyang Borer race were still searching for the immemorial Heavenly Court's treasury. Lu Yiping touched the sword body and the tooth marks on the sword body lit up. Starlight burst out and illuminated the surroundings as if they had entered the starry sky. Previously, Fan Xiaozhou and the Fiend God Palace's ancestor had used all sorts of methods to break through the Buzhou Sky Sword's restrictions, but now, Lu Yiping had unlocked all of the restrictions with a casual swipe of his hand. After the starlight shone out from the sword body, it formed a star diagram in the surrounding space. However, this star diagram was incomplete. When the two swords merged into one and the star diagram was complete, they would be able to find the immemorial Heavenly Court's treasury. Lu Yiping kept the Buzhou Sky Sword in the cauldron of heaven and earth and then headed towards the Demon Bull Mountain with Taurus Longjiao. When they left, Taurus Longjiao took away the Fiend God Palace's treasury. The Demon Bull Mountain was located in the east of the high firmament mainland, not far from the Fiend God Palace. Therefore, the two soon saw the mountain from afar. Taurus Longjiao couldn't hide the excitement in his heart as he looked at the Demon Bull Mountain illuminated by the sunlight in the distance. Lu Yiping looked at the Demon Bull Mountain with mixed emotions. Several million years ago, when he and Taurus Longjiao left the mountain, he wasn't even a saint. Now, not only was he a saint, but he was also a Tao-confirming saint. After stopping for a while, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao walked towards Demon Ox Mountain. When they arrived, the Demon Ox Mountain was decorated with lanterns and colored banners. It seemed like a joyous occasion was being held. Experts from the surrounding forces were streaming into the Demon Ox Mountain in an endless stream. Taurus Longjiao stopped one of them and asked. Only then did he learn that the patriarch of the Purple-Eyed Ox Demon clan wanted to accept a disciple. So it's that brat Niu Gang who wants to accept a disciple. Taurus Longjiao laughed. Back then, Niu Gang had followed behind him obediently. Many years had passed, and he had become the clan leader. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao followed the crowd into the Demon Ox Mountain. Although Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao did not have an invitation, the Demon Ox Demon clan's disciples did not stop them. Instead, they politely invited Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao in. The Demon Ox Mountain was one of the strongest forces in the high firmament mainland, and it was as famous as the Fiend God Palace. Therefore, there were many experts who came to participate in the celebration. Lu Yiping glanced around and estimated that there were at least 100,000 people in the square. At this time, the Demon Ox Demon clan's patriarch, Niu Gang, was sitting with several ancient clans' patriarchs, chatting happily. Suddenly, the Golden Sparrow race's patriarch spoke. The Dark Phoenix race, Hidden Fog Immortal Sect, and Twin Dragons Valley were annihilated one after another. The immortal world is becoming more and more chaotic. Everyone in the hall quieted down. At this time, the White Tiger race's patriarch's communication symbol vibrated. He took it out and was shocked. He said to Niu Gang and the others, I just received news that the Fiend God Palace was annihilated. What? Niu Gang and the others were flabbergasted. When did this happen? Niu Gang couldn't believe it. The Fiend God Palace was located not far from the Demon Ox Mountain. How could the Fiend God Palace be annihilated? It was annihilated not long ago. The White Tiger race's patriarch said, Fan Xiaozhou, the Fiend God Palace's several hundred ancestors, and several 100 million disciples, none of them managed to escape. Niu Gang and the others looked at each other in shock. The Fiend God Palace was one of the strongest forces in the high firmament mainland, no weaker than the Demon Ox Mountain. Yet, not a single person managed to escape. Right at this time, the Demon Ox clan's disciple outside shouted, the Silver Wolf race's patriarch has arrived. Niu Gang frowned hearing that. The Demon Ox clan and the Silver Wolf race had always been enemies. What was Lang Guangyao doing at the Demon Ox Mountain? The Golden Sparrow race's patriarch, White Tiger race's patriarch, and the others looked at Niu Gang. They were all aware of the enmity between the Silver Wolf race and the Demon Ox clan. Let him in. Niu Gang said. Just as he finished speaking, a large number of experts of the Silver Wolf clan rushed in from the outside. There were a lot of people from the Silver Wolf clan, perhaps several thousand of them. Moreover, all of them were experts. The disciples of the Demon Ox clan who were guarding outside wanted to stop them, but they were all sent flying by the experts of the Silver Wolf clan. The Golden Sparrow race's patriarch, White Tiger race's patriarch, and the others were surprised when they saw Lang Guanyao leading the Silver Wolf race's experts to injure the Demon Ox clan's disciples and barge in. Niu Gang stood up and walked out with the Demon Ox clan's experts. When they arrived outside the hall, Niu Gang's face sank when he saw the Silver Wolf race's experts rushing in. He looked at Lang Guanyao and asked, "Lang Guanyao, what's the meaning of this?" Lang Guanyao didn't answer. Instead, he introduced the middle-aged man beside him to Niu Gang. "Niu Gang, this is General Yu Yang from the Heavenly Court." He then added, "General Yu Yang is a general." Whether it was Niu Gang, the Golden Sparrow race's patriarch, or the White Tiger race's patriarch, their expressions changed when they heard that. Only heavenly venerables could become a general of the Heavenly Court. The late-stage immortal Emperor Niu Gang hurriedly cupped his fists and said, "Niu Gang of the Demon Ox clan greets Lord Yu Yang." The Golden Sparrow race's patriarch, the White Tiger race's patriarch and the others also hurriedly stepped forward to greet him. General Yu Yang from the Heavenly Court had his hands behind his back. He nodded and said proudly, "I didn't come here for anything special. Your eldest disciple, Niu Yushu, colluded with the demon world and killed our Heavenly Court's experts. I request the higher-ups of your Demon Ox clan to follow me back to investigate." What? Niu Gang and the higher-ups of the Demon Ox clan didn't dare to believe it. Impossible. Niu Gang immediately said, "My eldest disciple couldn't have colluded with the demon world. Where is he?" Niu Gang knew his eldest disciple very well. He stayed by his side all year round and his only hobby was to study formations. Moreover, he watched him grow up. How could he have colluded with the demon world? Your eldest disciple. Lang Guanyao smiled indifferent, he's naturally in Yama's prison. Yama's prison. Niu Gang and the other Demon Ox clan's experts' hearts sank. Yama's prison was a place where the Heavenly Court of the immortal world imprisoned criminals. Basically, after entering it, they wouldn't have the chance to come out. Yu Yang looked at Niu Gang and said indifferently, "Correct, your eldest disciple is now in Yama's prison. Now, all of you follow me to Yama's prison." His voice wasn't loud, but it was unquestionable. Niu Gang suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "Lord Yu Yang, you came here and accused my eldest disciple of colluding with the demon world. Then you want to imprison all the higher-ups of the Demon Ox clan in Yama's prison. Isn't this against the rules? Generally speaking, only when there was conclusive evidence would one be locked up in a place like Yama's prison, which was a place of severe punishment. But now, Yu Yang wanted to imprison all the higher-ups of the Demon Ox clan without even investigating. Chapter 412. Niu Gang continued, "Moreover, I don't know if my eldest disciple is really colluding with the demon world." Yu Yang's eyes turned cold. "You mean to say that I'm framing your eldest disciple?" Lang Guanyao shouted at Niu Gang, "Niu Gang, you've got guts, you actually dare to question Sir Yu Yang and the Heavenly Court?" One of the Ox demon ancestors couldn't help retorting, "Even if Niu Yushu is really colluding with the demon world, it doesn't mean that our entire Ox demon clan is colluding with the demon world. You want to imprison all of our higher-ups in the Yama prison, you're clearly framing us for colluding with the demon world." Yu Yang suddenly struck out with his palm, sending that Ox demon ancestor flying. The old ancestor of the Ox demon clan smashed into the main hall with a loud bang, causing the ground to shake. Everyone looked at him in shock, only to see a huge blood-red palm imprint on his chest. The palm imprint had almost penetrated his chest. No one expected Yu Yang to suddenly make a move, and so heavily at that. Niu Gang and the other Ox demon ancestors couldn't help glaring at Yu Yang. Indifferent, Yu Yang swept his gaze over Niu Gang and the other Ox demon ancestors present. "What, you want to rebel? I advise you to stay put. Outside is the Heavenly Court's army of 1,000,000. If you dare to make a move, I'll give the order and the army will come in." At that time, your entire Ox Demon clan will be wiped out. Hearing that the Heavenly Court's army had arrived, Nyogang and the others couldn't help but be alarmed. At this time, a voice sounded, "Stop." Everyone looked over, only to see a tall and sturdy Ox Demon clan powerhouse with a golden horn on his head walking over. This person was the Ox Demon clan's strongest powerhouse, Niu Yi, and also Taurus Longjiao's uncle. Seeing Niu Yi's arrival, Yu Yang's expression remained calm. Although Niu Yi was also a heavenly venerable, he was only an early heavenly venerable, while Yu Yang was a mid-heavenly venerable. Old Patriarch. Niu Gang and the others hastily stepped forward to greet Niu Yi. Niu Yi nodded. He glanced at the heavily injured ancestor in the main hall and frowned. He looked at Yu Yang, General Yu Yang, right? If you have evidence to prove that the higher-ups of our Ox Demon clan colluded with the demon realm, we can follow you to the Yama prison. After a pause, his voice turned cold. If you don't have any proof, then forgive our Ox Demon clan for being unable to listen to you. Then he added, furthermore, you came to our Ox Demon clan and seriously injured our old ancestor for no reason. You have to give us an explanation. Hearing Niu Yi's words, Yu Yang laughed heartily. His laughter was full of ridicule. You want me to give your Ox Demon clan an explanation? Saying this, his aura rose sharply. Good, then I'll give your Ox Demon clan an explanation. Suddenly, he sent a palm strike towards Niu Yi. Yu Yang had not used his full strength just now. Now that he no longer concealed his strength, he struck out with his full strength. His palm energy whistled through the air, causing everyone present to feel suffocated. Niu Yi was also shocked. Middle stage heavenly venerable. Niu Yi couldn't help retreating, but Yu Yang's palm force was too fast. Just as it was about to hit Niu Yi's chest, a golden light pierced through the air. The golden light was so fast that no one could see it clearly. In the blink of an eye, it slashed across Yu Yang's palm force. By the time everyone reacted, Yu Yang's palm force had already been cut into countless pieces. Then, Yu Yang's palm force dissipated. Not only Niu Yi, Niu Gang, Lang Guangyao, and the others, but even Yu Yang was stunned. Everyone looked in the direction of the golden light and saw two figures, one blue and one gold, walking in. When Niu Yi and Niu Gang saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, their faces were filled with disbelief, excitement, and joy. Lord Lu, Big Brother Xiaojin. Niu Gang shouted in pleasant surprise. Although several million years had passed, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao's appearances had not changed. Therefore, Niu Gang recognized Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao at a glance. Niu Yi also stepped forward excitedly, stopping in front of Lu Yiping and bowing, Lord Lu. Lu Yiping helped Niu Yi up, smiling as he said, I've said it before, there's no need to be so courteous when you see me in the future. Taurus Longjiao grinned at Niu Yi, Great uncle, I'm back. Niu Yi smiled amiably, it's good that you're back. Little Gang has been waiting for you, looking forward to your return every day. Yu Yang's face sank when he saw Niu Yi, Niu Gang, Lu Yiping, and Taurus Longjiao chatting happily, completely ignoring him. Looking at Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, Yu Yang said, since you're also from the Ox Demon clan, follow me to the Yama's prison with the Ox Demon clan's higher-ups. When Taurus Longjiao heard that Yu Yang was going to imprison him and Lu Yiping in the Yama's prison, he grinned and walked over to Yu Yang. Niu Yi didn't see that it was Taurus Longjiao who broke Taurus Longjiao's palm. Seeing that Taurus Longjiao was about to make a move, Niu Yi couldn't help but say, Xiaojin, don't be impulsive, you're not his opponent. Several million years ago, when Taurus Longjiao left, he wasn't even an immortal emperor. In Niu Yi's heart, even if Taurus Longjiao had broken through to the immortal emperor realm, he was still far from being Yu Yang's opponent. Just as Niu Yi's words fell, Taurus Longjiao's palm flew towards Yu Yang. Seeing this, Yu Yang smiled indifferent, you're courting death. He suddenly sent out a palm to meet Taurus Longjiao's palm. Bang! The moment Yu Yang's palm collided with Taurus Longjiao's palm, Yu Yang felt an unimaginably terrifying force rushing towards him. Yu Yang's face felt like it was hit by a chaotic beast. With a loud crack, he was sent flying towards the Silver Wolf clan's experts like a kite with a broken string. Lang Guanyao dodged in a panic. However, the Silver Wolf clan's experts behind him were sent flying one after another. Miserable screams filled the air. After plowing a path through the Silver Wolf clan's experts, Yu Yang's body landed at the end of the square. Everyone looked over in shock and saw that Yu Yang's face and head had been slapped out of shape, dripping with blood. Everyone was dumbfounded, including Niu Yi and Niu Gang. The Silver Wolf clan's patriarch, Lang Guanyao, looked at Taurus Longjiao in horror. Yu Yang was a mid-stage heavenly venerable, yet he was sent flying with a single slap. What kind of strength was this? Even an ordinary late-stage heavenly venerable wouldn't be able to do that. Was he a peak late-stage heavenly venerable? Or an invincible heavenly venerable? An invincible heavenly venerable was the strongest person below the saint realm. Taurus Longjiao looked at Yin Guangyao. Chapter 413. The million-strong army of the Heaven Court was shocked to see Yu Yangxian lying on the square in the distance, covered in blood. Lord Yu Yang. One of the commanders rushed to Yu Yang's side and called out. Lord Yu Yang opened his eyes and glared at Taurus Longjiao and Lu Yiping. His hatred and killing intent soared to the sky as he roared, "The Ox Demon race colluded with the Devil world, kill them for me. Annihilate the Ox Demon race, kill." Yu Yang's hatred couldn't be quelled and he roared, "Set up the Demon Extermination Grand Formation, kill them all." The Heavenly Court's army immediately set up the Demon Extermination Grand Formation. Layers of golden light bloomed as the army threw the spears in their hands. In an instant, the million spears rained down on Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, Niu Yi, and the rest. The destructive power of the million spears caused the Golden Sparrow race and White Tiger race's experts to turn pale. The Golden Sparrow race and White Tiger race's experts hurriedly retreated, afraid of being caught in the crossfire. The White Tiger race's patriarch retreated to a safe distance, watching the million spears flying towards Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao. He shook his head and said, "Going against the Heavenly Court, foolish." In the immortal world, no matter how strong one was, going against the Heavenly Court meant death. No matter how strong one was, it was impossible to go against the Heavenly Court. It seems like the Ox Demon race is destined to perish. The Golden Sparrow race's patriarch shook his head and sighed. Taurus Longjiao looked at the million spears raining down on him and the Heavenly Court's heavenly pillar appeared in his hand. In an instant, the Heavenly Court's heavenly pillar grew to the size of a pillar supporting the heavens. Taurus Longjiao roared and the heavenly pillar in his hand swept out. Wherever the heavenly pillar swept across, all the spears turned into dust. The sky full of spears exploded into nothingness. Everyone was dumbfounded. Saint energy. A saint expert. The Golden Sparrow race's patriarch, White Tiger race's patriarch, Yu Yang, and the rest exclaimed in shock. The golden retriever in front of them was neither a peak late-stage heavenly venerable nor an invincible heavenly venerable, but a saint expert. Once he became a saint, he would be a half-saint. The difference between a saint and an invincible celestial venerable was like heaven and earth. Yu Yang's heart sank, he hadn't expected the Demon Ox clan to have a saint realm master. Niu Yi, Niu Gang, and the others were also shocked. They never thought that Taurus Longjiao had already entered the saint realm. At this moment, Taurus Longjiao's body suddenly shone with golden light. He soared into the sky and swung the heavenly pillar in his hand again. The heavenly pillar, which contained an astonishing amount of holy power, swept towards the Heavenly Court's army. Instantly, the Heavenly Court's million-strong army fell to the ground like rain. Some of them exploded in midair. The million-strong army of the Heavenly Court and the demon-exterminating army were no match for Taurus Longjiao. "I'll destroy you with one strike." There was no room for discussion. As the heavenly pillar swept across, no one in the heavenly court's army could stop it. An immortal emperor commander frantically activated a chaos spiritual treasure grade shield in an attempt to block Taurus Longjiao's super cudgel. However, the shield was instantly destroyed by the heavenly pillar along with the commander. Blood rained down from the sky. However, the blood of the heavenly court's army did not fall. It was as if an invisible force was holding them back. It was Lu Yiping who was controlling the blood with his mind power and not letting it drip down. Naturally, he wouldn't allow the blood of the heavenly court's army to fall and taint the demon ox mountain. Even the buildings on the demon ox mountain were undamaged. Niu Yi waited for Taurus Longjiao to stop, then walked over with a bitter smile on his face. Lord Lu, big brother Shao Jin, you were too impulsive. Niu Gang and the demon ox clan's experts were also worried. Lu Yiping's expression remained unchanged, and he said with a smile, sometimes, being impulsive isn't necessarily a bad thing. Niu Yi didn't know what to say. Even the heavenly court's army of 1,000,000 was annihilated, and even the heavenly court's generals were killed. How was this not a bad thing? Could it be that killing the heavenly court's generals was a bad thing? Subsequently, Niu Gang's disciple ceremony continued. However, the Demon Ox clan's experts couldn't bring themselves to celebrate when they thought of the heavenly court's wrath. At this time, far away in the central continent, there stood a majestic divine mountain. It was the immortal world's #1 divine mountain, Mount Kunlun. On the summit of Mount Kunlun stood a peerless beauty, looking at the rolling clouds in front of her in a daze. Where are you now? The peerless beauty muttered to herself, are you all right? Speaking of this, she took out a jade tablet and carefully rubbed it in her hand, as if she was rubbing the lover she yearned for day and night. Chapter 4:14. While the beauty stared at the clouds in a daze, a pure beauty who looked like a maid walked over from afar. She bowed and said, Queen Mother, the peaches in the garden are about to ripen. May I know who will be invited to the Feast of Peaches? The Queen Mother of the Heavens wasn't interested at all. She said, what's so interesting about the Feast of Peaches without him? She'd met him for the first time at the Feast of Peaches. She still remembered his peerless charm, his elegance, and his domineering aura. But he'd never been to the Feast of Peaches after that. Without him, the Feast of Peaches was meaningless to her. Keep the invitation list as usual, the Queen Mother said lazily. Queen Mother of the West said lazily, after Little Red is done, let me look through it again and see if there's anything to add. Yes, Queen Mother, the pure beauty replied respectfully. A while later, Lil Red finished the list and handed it to the Queen Mother. The first one to be invited was Hao Tian, the ruler of the celestial world. The Empress frowned when she saw Hao Tian's name. She took out a pen and crossed out Hao Tian's name. Then she gave the list back to her maid, Xiao Hong. Invite him according to this list. In the future, don't invite Hao Tian to the Feast of Peaches. Lil Red opened her mouth to persuade the Queen Mother, but didn't say anything in the end. She left with the order. News of the Queen Mother's peaches ripening and the Feast of Peaches soon spread. Those who received the Queen Mother's invitation were overjoyed. In the heavenly court of the immortal world, the Lord of the immortal world, Hao Tian, didn't look too good when he didn't receive the Queen Mother's invitation. Your Majesty, the Queen Mother doesn't know what's good for her. Marshal Ma Ting snorted beside Hao Tian. Your Majesty is the Lord of the immortal world. It's her fortune that you've taken a liking to her. But she's been rejecting your Majesty for so many years. How dare she not invite your Majesty to the Feast of Peaches? She doesn't know what's good for her. Ma Ting's words angered Hao Tian. As the Lord of the immortal world, he had all kinds of women. But no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't win the Queen Mother's heart, let alone possess her body. The Queen Mother kept rejecting him, and this became the laughing stock of the entire celestial world. At this time, Ma Ting added, Your Majesty, why don't you make a move and suppress this Queen Mother of the West, capture her, and bring her back to the heavenly palace? You can occupy her body first, and at that time, you won't have to fear that her heart will not belong to you. Hao Tian's eyes flickered. Actually, it wasn't that he hadn't thought of this idea before. However, every time he thought of the backing behind the Queen Mother, he was terrified. Others might not know the true identity of the Queen Mother, but he more or less knew. Your Majesty. Seeing that Hao Tian was moved, Ma Ting continued, you are now the strongest in the myriad of worlds, why do you have to worry about the people behind the Queen Mother? Hao Tian thought for a moment and shook his head, there's no hurry. Let's talk about it after I comprehend the Grand Tao of Destiny. Once I comprehend the Grand Tao of Destiny, I'll be the true #1 expert in the myriad of worlds. At this point, a domineering aura swept out from his body. It won't be too late to suppress her then. Among the 3,000 Grand Taos, the Grand Tao of Destiny was ranked second. As long as he comprehended the Grand Tao of Destiny, he would be able to control the fate of all living beings in the myriad of worlds. At that time, he wouldn't have to be afraid of anything. Right, Your Majesty, there's news from the Aparagodania continent. There's a situation in the High Firmament continent. Ma Ting suddenly remembered something and said, the Demon Ox Mountain colluded with the Demon World. Ma Ting hurriedly replied. After Lu Yiping and the Dragon Horn Golden Bull destroyed the Yama's prison and rescued Niu Gang's eldest disciple, Niu Yushu, on their way back to the Demon Bull Mountain. Along the way, they passed by a few cities, and all the disciples were talking about the Feast of Peaches. The Feast of Peaches was a grand event in the immortal world. Anyone who was invited by the Heavenly Queen Mother would be honored by their family and sect. I heard that the Heavenly Queen Mother crossed out His Majesty Hao Tian's name. She didn't invite His Majesty Hao Tian. Is the Heavenly Queen Mother really that beautiful? Everyone discussed. The Feast of Peaches. Lu Yiping read aloud. Niu Yi, who was following beside Lu Yiping, smiled and said, the Heavenly Queen Mother also invited me to the Feast of Peaches. Your Majesty, why don't you join me? Chapter 4:15. Participate in the Feast of Peaches? Lu Yiping hesitated. Taurus Longjiao chuckled, it's good to participate in the Feast of Peaches. The Queen Mother's peaches are the best in the immortal world, the taste is very nostalgic. He then turned to Lu Yiping, Master, you haven't seen the Queen Mother for so many years. Since you're back in the immortal world, why don't you go see her? Lu Yiping remained silent. Lu Yiping had mixed feelings about the Queen Mother. A moment later, Lu Yiping said to Niu Yi, all right, I'll go with you. Niu Yi smiled happily, great. He then asked, does Lord know the Queen Mother? Lu Yiping nodded. Since Niu Yi would know about it during the Feast of Peaches, there was nothing to hide. Niu Yi hesitated for a moment and said, my lord, I'm afraid the Heavenly Court will not let the matter of Yuliang go. Since you know the Queen Mother, why don't you ask her to plead with His Majesty Hao Tian? Taurus Longjiao chuckled, plead with clear heaven. That guy should be the one pleading with Master. Niu Yi was stunned. Taurus Longjiao smiled, don't worry, Uncle Yi. Nothing will happen. Master is here. Niu Yi opened his mouth, wanting to remind Lu Yiping, but he swallowed his words. However, hearing Taurus Longjiao's confidence in Lu Yiping, Niu Yi couldn't help guessing Lu Yiping's current strength. Could it be that Lord Lu Yiping had already entered the Saint Realm? Along the way, Niu Yi couldn't help but ask curiously, Lord, could it be that you've already entered the Saint Realm? Niu Gang, who was traveling with them, looked at Lu Yiping in shock. Lu Yiping nodded, it's been several million years since I entered the Saint Realm. Hearing this, Niu Yi and Niu Gang's faces lit up with ecstasy. So you've already proven your way and become a saint, Niu Yi said excitedly. No wonder Xiao Jin is so confident in you. It had been millions of years since he had proven his Tao and entered the Saint Plane. In that case, Lord Lu's auspicious cloud should be 1 or 2 mu of land. Knowing that Lu Yiping had already been a saint for millions of years, Niu Yi and Niu Gang, who had been feeling uneasy, felt a lot more at ease. Since Lu Yiping had already been a saint for millions of years, then even if he could not contend against the saints of the heavenly court, he could at least protect himself. As the date of the Feast of Peaches was not far away, Niu Yi and Niu Gang made preparations as soon as they returned to the demonic Bull Mountain. Since Niu Yi was heading to the Feast of Peaches, he naturally had to prepare a gift. However, Niu Yi didn't know what to prepare. Over the years, the Demon Bull Mountain had been suppressed by the Silver Wolf clan, so they didn't have a luxurious life. When Taurus Longjiao found out that Niu Yi was having a hard time preparing a gift, he couldn't help but smile. "Uncle Yi, you don't have to prepare a gift. I'll do it." He then took out a spatial artifact and handed it over to Niu Yi. Niu Yi opened the spatial artifact and saw a mountain of chaos spirit stones piled up inside. He couldn't see the end of it, and he had no idea how many other heavenly treasures there were. Niu Yi's eyes widened. Taurus Longjiao smiled. "These are the treasures I obtained after destroying the Fiend God Palace with my master. My master and I have no use for these things. Uncle Yi, you can distribute the immortal artifacts and armors to the younger members of the Demon Bull clan. In the future, let our Demon Bull clan's brothers eat and drink well. Of course, let them sleep well." Niu Yi was extremely touched, but when he heard Taurus Longjiao's last sentence, he couldn't help but laugh. He punched Taurus Longjiao lightly and said, "You brat, you didn't let your Uncle Yi dote on you in the past in vain. Alright, then Uncle Yi will accept these things. I'll thank you on behalf of those brats." Taurus Longjiao smiled. "I still have some purplish gold chaos water here. Uncle Yi, take it and cultivate. Don't worry about running out of purplish gold chaos water. When you run out, there'll be more." He then took out another spatial artifact and handed it to Niu Yi. Niu Yi thought that Taurus Longjiao didn't have enough purplish gold chaos water, so he didn't put it to heart. But when he opened the spatial artifact, an astonishing amount of chaos chi rushed out like a sea of chaos, almost suffocating him. Niu Yi calmed down and looked at the spatial artifact in shock. Inside the spatial artifact, buckets of purplish gold chaos water were arranged in an orderly manner on the ground. This. Niu Yi jumped in fright. "Xiao Jin, where did you get so much purplish gold chaos water?" Purplish gold chaos water was rare even in the world of immortals. This was his first time seeing so much purplish gold chaos water. Taurus Longjiao smiled. "Don't worry, Uncle Yi. I didn't steal this purplish gold chaos water. Master has a treasure that can produce an endless supply of purplish gold chaos water. It can produce 1 bucket a day. Master has more than 1,000,000 buckets in his possession over the years. More than 1,000,000 buckets." Niu Yi's heart trembled. "How much was that?" "That's why Master has an endless supply of purplish gold chaos water." Taurus Longjiao smiled. "And neither Master nor I use purplish gold chaos water to cultivate. That's why we have no use for it. You can drink it like water in the future." Niu Yi stared blankly at the countless buckets of purplish gold chaos water. Drink it like water. While Niu Yi stared blankly at the purplish gold chaos water, Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under the foundation tree, circulating the secret art of longevity to devour the foundation tree's primordial qi. Now, he had fully comprehended the 1700 great Daos in the 8 pieces of the Fortune Jade Disc. Even the immortal Skywood technique had reached the 12th level. Only the secret art of longevity was close to reaching the 49th level. That was why his main focus now was on the secret art of longevity. Of course, as he circulated the secret art of longevity to devour the primordial qi, the saint energy in his body grew day by day. However, just like how the ancient gods cultivated their totems, the further they progressed, the harder it was to condense the totems. It was the same for the saint realm. The further one progressed, the harder it was for the saint energy to grow. Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud was now 17 mu. It would take at least 200 to 300 years to break through to 18 Mu. Several days passed. Lu Yiping stopped cultivating and set off for the Kunlun Divine Mountain with Taurus Longjiao, Niu Yi, Niu Gang, and the others. The immortal realm was vast and boundless. There were 5 main continents. The demonic Bull Mountain was in the Aparagodania continent while the Kunlun Divine Mountain was in the central continent. The distance was quite far, so Lu Yiping and the others had to travel a few days in advance. Since the Feast of Peaches could only bring a maximum of 4 people with them, Lu Yiping did not bring many people with him. There were only 5 of them. Originally, Lu Yiping and the others were on the demonic Bull Clan spaceship. However, Lu Yiping felt that the demonic Bull Clan spaceship was too slow, so he took out the Injiu Clan spaceship. Lu Yiping had found it on Yin Yiping's body after he killed Yin Yiping. Naturally, Yin Yiping's spaceship was far superior to the demonic Bull Clans. Niu Yi and Niu Gang stood at the bow of the spaceship, looking at the mountains behind them in awe. The spaceship did not stop. After exiting the Aparagodania continent, they soon entered the central continent. The Kunlun Divine Mountain was finally in sight. Chapter 4:16. When Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and the others arrived at the Kunlun Divine Mountain, there was already a sea of people. Spaceships were shuttling back and forth, and there were all kinds of mounts. It was Niu Gang's first time attending the Feast of Peaches. Seeing the sea of people in front of him, he was shocked. It was his first time seeing so many experts from different sects and clans. He was a late-stage immortal emperor and was considered one of the top experts in the Lingxiao continent. However, when he arrived, he realized that almost all the people here were immortal emperors, and many of them were stronger than him. Isn't there too many people here? Niu Gang couldn't help but ask. Niu Yi smiled. All the sects and clans with celestial lords in the immortal world were invited by the Heavenly Queen Mother. It's normal that there are so many people here. There should be more in a few days. There were only a few days left before the Feast of Peaches. When the Feast of Peaches really arrived, there would definitely be more experts from different continents in the immortal world. However, not all of them were invited by the Heavenly Queen Mother. Some of them are just here to join in the fun, Niu Yi said. There are so many experts gathered at the Kunlun Divine Mountain. Some of them are here to see if they have the chance to meet some experts and try their luck. Niu Gang looked at the Kunlun Divine Mountain in the distance and sighed. The Heavenly Queen Mother is not only beautiful, but also a saint. She is also the leader of the female immortals in the immortal world. I wonder who would be lucky enough to marry her. Niu Yi scolded, watch your words. The Heavenly Queen Mother is not something you can talk about. Taurus Longjiao, however, winked at Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping ignored Taurus Longjiao's flirting and drove the spaceship towards the city in front. Under the Kunlun Divine Mountain, there was a huge city called Kunlun City. It was one of the biggest and oldest cities in the immortal world. Since the Feast of Peaches had not arrived yet, the experts from all over the immortal world had entered Kunlun City. When some of the experts from the various clans and sects saw Lu Yiping's spaceship, they took the initiative to make way for him. Lu Yiping's flying ship came from the Yin Valley and was a saint artifact. Sensing the saint aura of Lu Yiping's flying ship, these experts took the initiative to avoid it. Which sage's flying ship is this? I don't remember there being any sage's flying ship in the immortal world that looks like this, a sect master said in surprise as he looked at Lu Yiping's flying ship. Who is that blue-robed young man? No, I don't. He should be a disciple or descendant of a saint. Everyone discussed in low voices. In the immortal world, almost every continent had celestial venerables. There was no lack of celestial venerables, but there were very few saint realm experts, and even fewer Tao-proving sages. Therefore, as long as a saint flying ship arrived, it would inevitably cause a heated discussion among the experts. In the crowd, a young man looked at Lu Yiping's back with envy and said, I wonder when I can become a disciple of a saint. Many people had rushed over to the Kunlun God Mountain to see if they could catch the eye of a saint and be taken in as a disciple. If they could be taken in as a disciple of a saint, even if it was just an in-name disciple, it would be a meteoric rise. Let's just forget about it. His companion shook his head and chuckled. Even though our talents are decent, we're still far from the requirements of a saint. If we could be taken in as a disciple by a saint realm expert, we'd be having a fever in front of Buddha. In the midst of the discussions, Lu Yiping's flying ship arrived before Kunlun City and came to a stop. The few of them got off the flying ship and kept it before entering Kunlun City. The only forces that could be on par with the Zhu family in the immortal world were the Meng family, the Wu tribe, and the Kunlun Divine Mountain. Of course, with Zhu Ling's death, the Zhu clan only had 2 saints left. Even so, the Zhu clan was still a super giant in the immortal world. The sacred Confucian Chamber of Commerce was spread all over the immortal world. Yes, these shops belong to the Zhu clan. We are all disciples of the Zhu clan. The person in charge of the counter raised his head and said, "Is there anything else?" "If there's nothing else, you may leave." "What if we don't leave?" Taurus Longjiao asked. The person in charge of the counter sneered, "Don't leave? Are you trying to be unreasonable?" Then, he said to the Zhu clan guards in the hall, "Break their legs and throw them out." The Zhu clan guards surrounded them, but as soon as they got close to Lu Yiping's group, they were all sent flying. Chapter 4:17. The person in charge of the counter was stunned when he saw the guards flying out of the shop. He looked at Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and was about to say something when Taurus Longjiao suddenly slapped the person in charge. Before the person in charge could react, he was sent flying by Taurus Longjiao. With a loud bang, the person in charge crashed through the shop's wall and fell to the ground. His body was covered in blood and he fainted. The shop's lobby was a mess. Some of the experts who had been doing business in the hall retreated out of the shop in fright. Lu Yiping said to Taurus Longjiao, "Raise these shops to the ground for me." Taurus Longjiao chuckled, "Yes, master. Watch me." He was the best at this kind of work. Immediately, he punched out. In an instant, fist waves rolled out and swept away one shop after another. There were dozens of shops, and each of them was protected by the Zhu family's experts. But now, they were all destroyed by Taurus Longjiao's fist waves. The various experts who were doing business in the shops fled for their lives. When they came out, they were shocked to see the shops that had been destroyed and turned into dust. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, and the others. Which family are these people from? How dare they destroy the Zhu family's shops? The Zhu family must have sent Tao-proving sages to participate in this feast of peaches. Now that their shops are destroyed, there will be a good show to watch. Everyone discussed. The Zhu family's disciples who ran out rushed up in anger, but they were all sent flying by Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping opened the mansion's restriction and led Taurus Longjiao and the others into the mansion. At this time, in a luxurious mansion in Kunlun City, Zhu Heng looked at his subordinate Zhang Guang and said, "Miss Meng Qiantong refused to accept the things I asked you to send to her." Meng Qiantong had come with the Meng family's experts to the Feast of Peaches. She was in Kunlun City now. Zhu Heng knew that Meng Qiantong was coming, so he sent his servant, Zhang Guang, to deliver the gifts. He wanted to invite Meng Qiantong to come out and talk about the Guqin, but Meng Qiantong returned everything. "Yes, young master," Zhang Guang replied. Then he hesitated and said, "Miss Meng Qiantong also said that you shouldn't send anything to her anymore." Zhu Heng frowned. At this time, one of the Zhu family's experts hurried in, stopping in front of Zhu Heng and reporting, "Young lord, news just came from Shuangming Street, saying that several dozen shops there were destroyed." "What?" Zhu Heng and Zhang Guang were both stunned. "What happened?" Zhu Heng's face darkened as he asked. "The people from the uninhabited mansion on Shuangming Street have returned. the Zhu clan expert hurriedly said. Zhu Heng was stunned and asked in a deep voice, "Have you found out the identity of the other party?" The mansion on Shuangming Street had been empty for millions of years. Why would he show up at the Feast of Peaches? Was it a coincidence? Or was he also here to attend the Feast of Peaches? I have sent someone to investigate. The Zhu clan expert replied, but there is no result yet. The immortal world was vast, and although the Zhu family was powerful, it would take a long time to investigate a few people. Zhu Heng thought for a moment and said, "Is Uncle Zhu Jingshan still in Kunlun City?" Zhu Jingshan was the Zhu family's expert in Kunlun City. He was a Saint Realm expert and had been in the Saint Realm for nearly 20 million years. Lord Zhu Jingshan is still in Kunlun City. Zhang Guang said, "But young master, the Feast of Peaches is in a few days, and the Confucian saint will come in person. Why don't we wait for him to come and let him decide?" Zhu Heng said, "Are you afraid that Uncle Zhu Jingshan can't deal with the other party?" Zhang Guang explained, "I think that the Feast of Peaches is just around the corner, and we shouldn't make a big deal out of it." Zhu Heng's eyes flashed and he finally nodded, "All right, then we will wait for grandfather to come and deal with it." A few days passed in the blink of an eye. More and more experts gathered in Kunlun City, and as more and more experts gathered, there were naturally more conflicts between the big families and sections. However, with the Feast of Peaches around the corner, everyone restrained themselves and didn't make a big deal out of it. Nothing much happened in the past few days. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao stayed in the mansion to cultivate. Niu Yi, Niu Gang, and another old ancestor of the Demon Ox clan went out for a trip. A few days later, the Feast of Peaches arrived. Before dawn, experts from all over Kunlun City rushed to the Kunlun Divine Mountain. From afar, it looked like a swarm of ants had covered the entire Kunlun Divine Mountain, and they were wriggling to the top of the mountain. Lu Yiping and the others also left the mansion early and followed the crowd to the top of the Kunlun Divine Mountain. Just as Lu Yiping and the others were walking to the top of the Kunlun Divine Mountain, they suddenly heard a surprised cry, "Lord Lu!" Lu Yiping turned around and looked in the direction of the voice. A beautiful woman was looking at him with a face full of pleasant surprise. She was none other than Chen Yitao, whom he had saved earlier. Other than Chen Yitao, there was also Chen Zifeng. Both of them were following behind an old man. From the looks of it, this old man should be the #1 expert of Yaya mainland, Chen Wanli. Chen Yitao and the others stopped in front of Lu Yiping. Chen Yitao and Chen Zifeng were pleasantly surprised as they respectfully saluted Lu Yiping. Chen Yitao turned to Chen Wanli and said, "Father, this is Lord Lu and Lord Xiaojin that we told you about earlier." Chen Wanli quickly bowed to Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao to express his gratitude. Lu Yiping, Chen Yitao, Chen Wanli, and the others exchanged some pleasantries before walking together. A short while later, the group arrived at the top of the Kunlun Divine Mountain. There was another space at the top of the Kunlun Divine Mountain. It was extremely spacious, and at the center of the mountain peak was a large pool. Inside the pool, a jade spring flowed, enshrouded in mist, creating a pleasing sight to the eyes. Around the large pool were palaces made of jade. Carved on the stone pillars were various kinds of divine beasts and strange drawings. Many experts who came to the Kunlun Divine Mountain were drinking and chatting by the pool. Since the grand banquet had yet to begin, the Queen Mother had yet to come out. Just as Lu Yiping, Taurus Longjiao, Chen Wanli, and the others arrived at the top of the mountain, there was a sudden commotion. "It's Lord Confucian Sage. Zhu family's Lord Confucian Sage is here." Everyone looked over and saw a middle-aged man dressed in a green robe walking over, escorted by more than a dozen Zhu family experts. This middle-aged man was one of the Zhu family's 3 sages, the Confucian sage. He was also the leader of the Zhu family's 3 sages and one of the immortal world's top 10 experts. His strength was far above the golden lightning sage Zhu Ling. One of the experts following behind the Confucian sage suddenly stepped forward and said to Zhu Heng, Zhu Heng was stunned for a second, then he looked over in Lu Yiping's direction with a cold glint in his eyes. Noticing Zhu Heng's strange expression, the Confucian sage stopped and followed Zhu Heng's gaze to Lu Yiping's direction. When he saw Lu Yiping, the Confucian sage was stunned for a second, then he walked over to Lu Yiping. All the experts present were surprised and turned to look at Lu Yiping. Judging from Lord Confucian sage's reaction, he seems to know this blue-robed young man. Zhu Heng was also puzzled. Chapter 418. Just as the Confucian sage was walking towards Lu Yiping, inside the Queen Mother's palace, the maid Xiao Hong ran up to her excitedly. "Queen Mother, he's here, he's here." The Queen Mother was confused when she saw her maid Xiao Hong running up to her and telling her that he's here, he's here. Why is he here? Who's here? The maid Xiao Hong rushed in and gasped for breath. "It's Master Lu, Master Lu is outside." What? The Queen Mother's body trembled as she looked at her maid Xiao Hong in disbelief. Her beautiful face was overjoyed. "You mean Master Lu? Master Lu is here. He's here to participate in this year's Saturn Peach Banquet?" The maid Xiao Hong nodded and smiled. "Yes, Queen Mother, it's Master Lu. I saw it clearly just now, it's Master Lu. He's here with Xiao Jin." When the Queen Mother heard this, she immediately rushed out of her bedroom like a whirlwind. When the maid Xiao Hong saw the Queen Mother rushing out like a whirlwind, she opened her mouth and wanted to say, "Queen Mother, you are still wearing your sleeping robe." However, before she could say anything, the Queen Mother had already disappeared. The maid Xiao Hong couldn't help but rush out anxiously. Outside, the Confucian sage stood in front of Lu Yiping. He looked at Lu Yiping and his eyes gradually changed. The Heavenly Saint. What, the Heavenly Saint? The Confucian sage's words were like a stone that stirred up thousands of waves. Countless experts present were in an uproar. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping with shock and awe. He's the Heavenly Saint. The Golden Lightning Saint, Yin Valley, and Dark Hell Ghost Beast were defeated by him. I heard that he killed the Golden Lightning Saint. The crowd was in an uproar. Chen Yitao, Chen Zifeng, Chen Wanli, and the others who were standing beside Lu Yiping were even more shocked. The Heavenly Saint? The person who was chatting with them was actually the Heavenly Saint. Chen Yitao's little heart was beating wildly. Zhu Heng, who was following behind the Confucian sage, was also shocked. He felt his hands and feet go cold. At the same time, he was glad that he did not act impulsively because of the shock. Impulse is the devil. Fortunately. While everyone was looking at Lu Yiping in awe, a whirlwind rushed out from the inner hall of the Queen Mother's palace. Everyone caught a whiff of an intoxicating fragrance. When the whirlwind stopped, everyone looked over and saw that there was an extremely charming and incomparably beautiful woman in front of them. Queen Mother. An expert standing not far away from the Queen Mother stuttered. The moment he opened his mouth, he suddenly felt like he was about to drool. This was because he realized that the dignified and incomparably beautiful Queen Mother was actually wearing a nightgown. Good heavens! The nightgown had a slit in the front. Although it couldn't be seen, it was enough to make one's blood boil. Everyone's gaze shifted from Lu Yiping to the Queen Mother. Everyone's blood was boiling. After the Queen Mother came out, her beautiful eyes were fixed on the light blue figure in the crowd. Perhaps she was excited, her delicate body trembled, and her beautiful eyes were filled with joy. "Little Lu, you're finally here." Her voice was extremely pleasant to the ears. Hearing it made one's heart pound, as if they were about to fall in love. No matter how much they listened to it, they still wanted to listen to it. When the Queen Mother came out, she stared at Lu Yiping, then called out to little Lu with a shy expression. Some of the people who were drinking spat out the wine in their mouths. In an instant, it was as if it was raining wine. Some of the patriarchs and sect chiefs were sprayed with wine. Niu Yi and Niu Gang's eyes widened as they looked at Lu Yiping, then at the Queen Mother. Chinitao's cherry lips were wide open. So, Big Brother Xiao Jin's words were true. The Queen Mother really liked Lord Lu. Seeing the Queen Mother come out, Lu Yiping smiled and said, "Big Sister Wang." Some of the experts who just spat out the wine in their mouths spat out the remaining wine in their mouths. Pooh! Loud noises filled the air. Queen Mother. Big Sister Wang. If it weren't for Lu Yiping's identity as the heavenly saint, everyone's gaze would have been sharp enough to kill Lu Yiping. Niu Yi and Niu Gang choked on their wine. At this moment, the Confucian sage standing in front of Lu Yiping suddenly punched at Lu Yiping with the auspicious cloud above his head. As one of the immortal world's top 10 experts, the Confucian sage's auspicious cloud had reached 16 mu. As the Confucian sage punched out, holy energy rushed out from the auspicious cloud. In an instant, the sky changed color. Not only the Queen Mother's palace, but even the Kunlun God Mountain shook. Everyone's expression changed. No one had expected that the Confucian sage would suddenly attack Lu Yiping. The Queen Mother was enraged seeing the Confucian sage attacking in her palace, especially at her small path. She shouted, "Zhu Ru, you dare!" Zhu Ru was the Confucian sage's real name, but it had the same pronunciation as midget. Therefore, it was a taboo for the Confucian sage. No one dared to call him by his real name. Just as the Queen Mother was about to attack, Lu Yiping's body suddenly emitted a bright light. The auspicious cloud above his head bloomed, and the auspicious light was so bright that it was hard for everyone to open their eyes. Everyone was shocked and they saw the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head. Even the Confucian sage was shocked, 17 mu. Didn't they say Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud was only 10 mu? How could it be 17 mu? Several hundred years ago, Lu Yiping and Zhu Ling fought in the Yin Valley, and the Black Hell Ghost Valley, and the auspicious cloud was only 10 mu. Therefore, the Confucian sage naively thought that Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud was still 10 mu. Not only the Confucian sage, but even the Queen Mother was stunned. 17 mu of auspicious cloud. Hao Yan's auspicious cloud was only 17 mu, right? Lu Yiping punched out, facing the Confucian sage's fist. Boom! The two collided. Heaven and earth shook violently. Everyone felt their bodies tremble. A terrifying force swept out, and countless sect experts were affected by the force of the two. They were all sent flying, and there were screams of pain. The Queen Mother's palace trembled and was about to collapse. Fortunately, the Queen Mother activated the Kunlun Divine Mountains array in time, and the palace did not collapse. The Confucian sage was also sent flying out of the Kunlun Divine Mountain and crashed into the mountain peak opposite it. With a loud bang, the mountain peak's rubble rolled down, and a cloud of dust rose. Everyone was shocked. The Confucian sage was one of the top 10 experts in the celestial world, but he was sent flying by Lu Yiping with a single punch. Lu Yiping took a step forward and arrived in front of the opposite mountain peak. At this moment, the Confucian sage, who was blasted into the mountain peak, suddenly flew out of the mountain peak. With a roar, he suddenly threw another punch at Lu Yiping. The great Dao Qi wrapped around his body, and great Daos flew out one after another. There were a total of 42 great Daos. Among the 42 great Daos, one of them shot into the sky, and the other great Dao's light completely paled in comparison. Karma Great Dao. Everyone was shocked. The Karma Great Dao was ranked 6th among the strongest Great Dao, ranked higher than the Reincarnation Great Dao and the Destruction Great Dao. Chapter 419. The Confucian sage urged the 42 Grand Daos and the Karmic Dao to attack Lu Yiping. At the same time, he roared, "Lu Yiping, I know you have 3 Supreme Grand Daos, but you only have a little over 20 Grand Daos. I have 42 Grand Daos now, and all of them are ranked in the top 100. I don't believe your 3 Supreme Grand Daos can block my 42 Grand Daos." The Confucian sage's eyes were sharp. Indifferent to the Confucian sage's words, Lu Yiping smiled. Grand Daos flew out one after another, and soon, there were 20 Grand Daos. Then, 21, 22, 23. In the blink of an eye, there were 42 Grand Daos. 42 Grand Daos. This Lu Yiping actually comprehended 42 Grand Daos. He has only been a true saint for a few million years. Seeing that Lu Yiping actually had 42 Grand Daos, the experts present were shocked. One had to know that the Confucian sage was the immortal world's oldest existence. He had been a true saint for more than 100 million years, and he had only comprehended 42 Grand Daos when he was in the primordial heavenly court. However, Lu Yiping had only been a true saint for a few million years, yet he had also comprehended 42 Grand Daos. Not only were the various sect and patriarchs shocked, but even the Confucian sage and Empress Dowager were shocked. The Empress Dowager's beautiful eyes were filled with joy, the kind of joy one would feel after seeing their little lover grow up. When she had first met Lu Yiping, she was already a true saint, while Lu Yiping had not even entered the true saint realm. Therefore, her master had objected to their relationship. Now, Lu Yiping had finally become a true saint, and he had comprehended 42 Grand Daos. Moreover, it was 17 mu of auspicious clouds. Her master wouldn't object to their relationship anymore, right? While everyone was still in shock over Lu Yiping's 42 Grand Daos, Lu Yiping's body suddenly emitted a bright light, and another Grand Dao flew out. 43. The Confucian sage's eyes widened. The Empress Dowager's beautiful eyes also widened. Then, 44 Grand Daos appeared. 45, 46 Grand Daos. Soon, the number of Grand Daos reached 50. 60. Even. 70. When Lu Yiping had 70 great Daos in an instant, the Confucian sage's expression changed. Lu Yiping suddenly punched out, and 70 great Dao surged out with a roar along with the power of his fist. It was as if the world could not withstand Lu Yiping's punch. It trembled, whimpered, and wept. A strange howling sound echoed in the air. Boom! Lu Yiping's fist power directly penetrated the Confucian saint's fist power and landed on the Confucian saint's chest with unstoppable force. The armor on the Confucian saint's chest exploded, and the fist force blasted into the flesh of his chest. When the Confucian sage was sent flying, everyone could clearly see a fist-shaped bump protruding from the Confucian sage's back. This was the result of Lu Yiping's punch penetrating his internal organs and penetrating his back. The Confucian saint once again blasted into the opposite divine mountain. Just now, he had only smashed into the surface of the opposite divine mountain for tens of meters, but this time, the Confucian saint blasted through tens of thousands of miles of the opposite divine mountain, causing it to collapse. Although this divine mountain was not as solid as the Kunlun divine mountain, it was still a divine mountain from the ancient times and was almost indestructible. But now, it collapsed all the way, and the entire divine mountain was completely turned into gravel and powder. Dust flew all over the sky. The rumbling sound was endless. Everyone looked at this scene in shock. The Confucian saint, one of the top 10 powerhouses in the immortal world, was still sent flying by a punch after displaying the power of 42 great Daos. At this moment, Lu Yiping pulled out the Confucian saint buried under the gravel with one hand. Everyone looked over and saw that the Confucian saint's armor was completely shattered, and there was a terrifying hole in his chest. This terrifying hole almost occupied his entire chest, and blood was constantly gushing out of the hole, causing the ground to shake. This was the blood of a Tao-proving sage. A normal drop of it contained enough power to destroy a continent. The Confucian saint was bleeding from all 7 orifices. Zhu Heng and the experts of the Zhu family were pale, their eyes were filled with horror, and their hearts were trembling. If the Confucian saint was defeated, they could imagine what would happen to them. Not to mention them, even the entire Zhu family would be finished. Suddenly, a shocking light burst out from the Confucian saint's body. Under the power of this light, the hole in the Confucian saint's chest began to gradually heal, and the vitality in his body was constantly restored. "It's the light divine bloodline," an old ancestor exclaimed. The light divine bloodline was the strongest bloodline in the ancient times. This bloodline was called immortal, and it was even stronger than the phoenix bloodline's nirvana power. With this bloodline, no matter how serious the injury was, it could be healed. Some people said that people with the light divine bloodline could recover even if their divine soul was shattered. Seeing that the Confucian saint's injury was about to heal, a great Tao suddenly flew out from Lu Yiping's body. When this great Tao flew out, the surrounding world instantly fell into a prison of death. Under the influence of this great Tao, some of the nearby experts felt that their vitality was about to be devoured. The great Tao of death. Everyone's expression changed. Although the great Tao of death was not one of the top 10 great Taos, it was ranked 12th among the 3,000 great Taos. Its terrifying power made people pale. When the Confucian saint saw Lu Yiping's great Tao of death, he was also shocked. At this moment, Lu Yiping punched the hole in the Confucian saint's chest that was about to heal. Suddenly, the power of death of the great Tao of death roared and madly poured into the Confucian saint's body, frantically destroying the vitality in his body. The Confucian saint's vitality that was constantly recovering was crazily devoured by the power of death of the great Tao of death. In the blink of an eye, the surface of the Confucian saint's body appeared gray. The Confucian saint was horrified to find that his light divine bloodline had completely dimmed. Just when the power of death was about to completely cover the Confucian saint, Lu Yiping suddenly withdrew his hand and stopped. Then, Lu Yiping used the power of the great Tao of time and space to seal the Confucian saint's power and threw him into the cauldron of heaven and earth. From the moment the Confucian saint suddenly attacked Lu Yiping to when Lu Yiping blasted the Confucian saint away, sealed him, and put him into the cauldron of heaven and earth, everything happened in a flash. By the time everyone reacted to it, Lu Yiping had already disappeared from where he was. The Queen Mother was just about to speak, but seeing that Lu Yiping had already disappeared, she could not help opening her mouth and stopping there. Everyone present was taken aback. No one expected that after Lu Yiping put the Confucian saint away into the cauldron of heaven and earth, he suddenly disappeared and left again. Only Taurus Longjiao guessed what Lu Yiping was going to do after leaving. The Zhu family had 3 saints, the Saint of Golden Thunder and the Confucian saint were already dealt with. There was only Saint Azure left. Now, Lu Yiping was naturally making a trip to the Zhu family's headquarters. Otherwise, once the matter of the Heavenly Peach pageant spread and Saint Azure escaped, it would be difficult to find him. Sure enough, not long after Lu Yiping left, the news of Lu Yiping destroying the Zhu family's headquarters and punching Saint Azure spread out. In the immortal world's heavenly court, Hao Yan looked at Marshal Ma Teng in surprise. What did you say? Lu Yiping comprehended more than 70 great Tao. Furthermore, Qing Yun cultivated to 17 mu like me. Chapter 420. Ma Teng lowered his head and said, yes, during the Immortality Peach Banquet, all the experts present saw it with their own eyes. The Confucian sage couldn't even withstand one move from Lu Yiping. Moreover, the Confucian sage used 42 grand daos, but he still couldn't withstand one punch from Lu Yiping. At that time, Lu Yiping didn't even use Mount Buzhou. Ma Teng's words caused Hao Yan's face to darken. Several hundred years ago, during the Divine World Convention, Lu Yiping fought with Zhu Ling and the others. Auspicious Cloud was only 10 mu, and he had only comprehended 20-odd grand daos. How could he have comprehended 70 grand daos in just a few hundred years? How could he have cultivated Auspicious Cloud to 17 mu in just a few hundred years? Hao Yan was so agitated that he almost roared at the end. According to his original plan, he would wait until he fully comprehended the Grand Tao of Destiny before taking the Bell of Chaos from the long-armed Divine Ape race. At that time, he would deal with Lu Yiping. However, he didn't expect Lu Yiping to have cultivated Auspicious Cloud to 17 mu and comprehended 70 grand daos in just a few hundred years. His auspicious cloud was only 17 mu. Although he had comprehended more than 90 grand daos, Lu Yiping had comprehended 3 supreme grand daos, while he only had 2. Ma Teng's forehead was drenched in cold sweat as he faced the roaring Haotian. Haotian was the lord of the immortal world, the ruler of the immortal world. He was above the gods, immortals, and Buddhas of the myriad worlds. He had always been confident, calm, and unperturbed. He had never lost control and lost his temper like this before. Your Majesty, could it be that Lu Yiping has a treasure on him that can rapidly increase his strength? Ma Teng asked cautiously. Treasure that can rapidly increase one's strength? Haotian calmed down and looked at Ma Teng, waiting for him to continue. Ma Teng guessed, I've looked into it. Whether in the divine world or the immortal world, this Lu Yiping has always asked the Chamber of Commerce to help him find Mount Buzhou's stone and Jianshu tree block. Hao Tian was startled, his eyes glinting. What do you mean? After the stone of Mount Buzhou was shattered by the witch ancestor, no one in the myriad of worlds could restore its vitality. However, a few hundred years ago, Lu Yiping used Mount Buzhou when he fought with Lord Zhu Ling and the others. Ma Teng said, since Lu Yiping can restore the vitality of Mount Buzhou, he might be able to restore the vitality of Jianshu as well. Jianshu. Hao Tian's eyes were blazing. Ma Teng said, that's right. Legend has it that the fruit of creation has the effect of seizing the good fortune of heaven and earth. Lu Yiping's sudden increase in cultivation over the past few hundred years might have been due to him consuming the fruit of creation. Hearing this, Haotian could not calm down. He got up and paced back and forth in the main hall. Where is Lu Yiping now? Hao Tian asked. Lu Yiping has just destroyed the Zhu residence and captured Saint Azure. He has already left the Zhu residence. We haven't found out where he is now. Ma Teng thought for a moment and said, My lord, Lu Yiping has an extraordinary relationship with the Ox Devil clan. The Taurus Longjiao is his mount and has accompanied him for millions of years. The two have a very deep relationship. Why don't we capture the Ox Devil clan and the Taurus Longjiao? Then lure Lu Yiping to our immortal world's heavenly court and borrow the power of the heavenly court's saints and the heavenly circuit immortal formation to kill Lu Yiping. Ma Teng's suggestion moved Hao Tian. Indeed, if he allowed Lu Yiping to continue growing, it would be even more disadvantageous for him. Now, if he borrowed the power of the heavenly court's saints and the heavenly circuit immortal formation, there was still hope to kill Lu Yiping. Now, including him, there were a total of 16 saints in the heavenly court. As long as he lured Lu Yiping to the heavenly court, the 16 saints would attack at the same time. Lu Yiping would definitely not be able to escape. Hao Tian pondered. Your Majesty, Ma Teng said again, if we don't get rid of Lu Yiping, he will definitely become a disaster. However, after some consideration, Hao Tian shook his head. Lu Yiping has the Buzhou Mountain and Jiang Jianshu. With our heavenly court's current strength, we only have a 50% chance of killing him. If we and Lu Yiping are both injured, the Yin Bora race and the Devil world will definitely take the opportunity to attack the immortal world. Your Majesty, what do you mean? Ma Teng asked carefully. Hao Tian pondered and said, I have already reached the final stage of comprehending the creation Grand Tao. Within 100 years, I will definitely be able to completely comprehend the creation Grand Tao. At that time, we will head to the ancient frigid abyss, seize the bell of primal chaos, hold the convention of the myriad realms, and lure Lu Yiping here. We will deal with Lu Yiping at the convention of the myriad realms. After Lu Yiping annihilated the Zhu family, he came to a certain desolate mountain in the immortal world and set up a formation to isolate the surrounding space. Then, he threw Confucian Sage and Saint Azure out of the cauldron of heaven and earth. Confucian Sage and Saint Azure looked at Lu Yiping in shock and anger. Lu Yiping, we are Tao-confirming sages and have obtained the recognition of the heavenly Tao. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the heavens for treating Tao-confirming sages like this? Saint Azure rebuked Lu Yiping angrily. Lu Yiping's expression was cold. Heavenly Tao. In the future, I will be the heavenly Tao. Confucian sage and Saint Azure were stunned. Lu Yiping summoned Jiang Jianshu. The 400,000-meter-tall Jiang Jianshu towered between heaven and earth. Black and yellow qi rolled, and the qi of the great Tao surged on the tree body, dazzling Confucian sage and Saint Azure. Jiang Jianshu. The two looked at the Jiang Jianshu in front of them, their faces full of shock and disbelief. Just as the two people's faces were full of shock and disbelief, the Jiang Jianshu's tens of millions of tree roots suddenly turned into extremely sharp blades, breaking through Confucian sage and Saint Azure, two people's defenses, piercing into the two people's chests. The two people startled awake, immediately guessing what Lu Yiping wanted to do, and could not help struggling frantically and roaring repeatedly. However, the two people's strength was the same as the previous Golden Thunder Holy Zhu Ling, already sealed by Lu Yiping, unable to shake the Jiang Jianshu at all. Very soon, Confucian sage and Saint Azure, two people, felt their holy power, power of great Tao, and sacred physique source power continuously pouring into the Jiang Jianshu from the tree roots. After struggling for a while, Confucian sage knew that he could not escape. Looking at Lu Yiping, his eyes full of hatred, Lu Yiping, I curse you to die a horrible death. All people related to you will all die a horrible death. As Confucian sage's words faded, a blood-red cloud immediately condensed high up in the sky. This blood-red cloud was the curse great Tao that Confucian sage had comprehended. This was the curse that Confucian sage condensed with the last of his strength. Although the curse great Tao was not one of the 10 supreme great Taos, it was second only to the 10 supreme great Taos, ranking 13th. Seeing that the cursed blood cloud was about to fall on Lu Yiping, suddenly, light surged around Lu Yiping, and the fire great Tao flew out. The power of the fire great Tao instantly incinerated the other party's cursed blood cloud. Lu Yiping looked at Confucian sage, whose face was full of hatred. Curse great Tao, unfortunately, your strength is too weak. Even if you use the curse great Tao at your peak, you can't curse me. Confucian sage's face was filled with despair. After a while, Confucian sage and Saint Azure's holy power, power of great Tao, and sacred physique source power were all extracted. Between the branches of the Jiang Jianshu, 2 golden Tao fruits grew. These 2 Tao fruits were larger than the Tao fruits of Yin Valley, Zhu Ling, and the Black Hell Ghost Beast, especially the Tao fruit condensed from Confucian sage's holy power, power of great Tao, and sacred physique source power. It was the size of 2 fists. Chapter 421. After extracting Confucian saint and Saint Azure's saint power, power of the great path, and power of the saint physique, Lu Yiping burned Confucian saint and Saint Azure clean with a flame of the great path. Then he sat down cross-legged and began to swallow the fruit of Tao to cultivate. The auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head circulated with auspicious light. He swallowed Saint Azure's fruit of Tao first. Immediately, Saint Qi surged, and the auspicious cloud above his head began to slowly expand. The auspicious cloud that was originally 17 acres began to approach 18 acres. Although Saint Azure's strength was not comparable to Confucian saint, it was still much stronger than Yin Valley back then. Therefore, the fruit of Tao borne by his saint power, power of the great path, and power of the saint physique's origin was much better than Yin Valley's. After refining Saint Azure's fruit of Tao, Lu Yiping then refined Confucian saint's fruit of Tao. After completely refining the 2 fruit of Tao, Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud finally broke through to 18 acres. However, there was still a gap from 19 acres. Lu Yiping felt the saint power in his body that had become much more vigorous. He blasted out a punch. Saint power surged, passing through layer after layer of continental space. In the end, it only stopped after crossing thousands of continental spaces. Within thousands of continents, all the powerhouses felt this sudden terrifying power and were so frightened that they all trembled. After Lu Yiping blasted out a punch, he withdrew his saint power. He did not leave this barren mountain. Instead, he sat down cross-legged and continued to cultivate the secret of longevity. Taking advantage of this closed-door cultivation, he decided to cultivate the secret of longevity to the 49th level before leaving. In the blink of an eye, 100 years passed. His longevity incantation had finally reached the peak of the 49th level. When the secret of longevity cultivated to the 49th level, Lu Yiping confirmed that there was still the 50th level of the secret of longevity. As long as he collected more good fortune jade discs, the 50th level of the secret of longevity would appear. After cultivating the secret of longevity to the 49th level, Lu Yiping stopped cultivating and took out the message talisman. When he opened it, it was full of messages from Taurus Longjiao. There were 7 messages. Lu Yiping's gaze fell on the last message. Primordial cold abyss, Lu Yiping muttered. The last message was about the main body of the creator. All these years, Taurus Longjiao had been helping him inquire about the main body of the creation tree. After 100 years, he finally had some clues. According to the information that Taurus Longjiao had found, the main body of the creation tree was now lost in the ancient cold abyss. Taurus Longjiao had already gone to the ancient cold abyss to search. Lu Yiping took a step forward, vanishing on the spot as he sped towards the ancient frigid abyss. The ancient frigid abyss was located at the extreme north of the immortal world. It could be said to be the end of the immortal world. The ancient frigid abyss was extremely cold. It spewed out a type of extreme cold energy all year round. Even immortal emperors wouldn't dare to casually enter the ancient frigid abyss. Just as Lu Yiping was rushing towards the primordial frigid abyss, a bright light flashed above the entrance of the primordial frigid abyss as a giant flying ship appeared. A large group of figures stood on the bow of the flying ship. Each of these figures had astonishing saint chi. They were all powerhouses above the saint rudiment realm. There were a total of 401 people. The leader was the lord of the immortal world, Hao Tian. In the past 100 years, with the help of the Heavenly Court's resources, Hao Tian had finally completely comprehended the Destiny Great Tao, which was ranked second among the 3,000 Great Taos. After successfully comprehending the Destiny Great Tao, Hao Tian led a group of Heavenly Court experts to the ancient frigid abyss. He couldn't wait to snatch the Bell of Chaos from Yuan Kong. This time, Hao Tian led 400 powerhouses. Including him, there were a total of 16 Tao affirmation saints. The rest were more than 380 Saint Rudiment Realm powerhouses. For the Bell of Chaos, the Heavenly Court's powerhouses were almost all out. Hao Tian looked at the ancient frigid abyss in front of him and said to Ma Teng and the others, "When we enter the ancient frigid abyss, everyone activate the Saint Armor Array on your body to conceal your aura. After obtaining the Bell of Chaos, retreat immediately." "Yes, Your Majesty." Ma Teng and the others responded respectfully. Hao Tian controlled the flying ship and broke through the frigid abyss's billowing cold air. He entered the ancient frigid abyss and soon disappeared into the billowing cold air. This flying ship had a great origin. It was called the Boat of Fortune. It was the flying ship of the ancient Heavenly Court's ancient Heavenly Emperor. It was also a supreme treasure. Although it was not as good as the Bell of Chaos, it was not much worse. This time, Hao Tian led all the Tao affirmation saints of the Heavenly Court and brought all the strongest saint artifacts and supreme treasures. Hao Tian controlled the Boat of Fortune and headed to the deepest level of the ancient frigid abyss. There were a total of 10 levels in the ancient frigid abyss. The lower one went, the colder the cold air and the more shocking the restrictions. The long-armed divine ape clan lived in seclusion on the 9th level. As for the 10th level, there were terrifying chaotic cold air storms everywhere. Even Tao affirmation saints did not dare to stay for long. Legend said that the 10th level led to the endless chaos. Soon, Hao Tian controlled the Boat of Fortune to enter the 2nd level. After arriving at the 2nd level, there were more ferocious beasts in the frigid abyss. Although the climate in the ancient frigid abyss was harsh, it was extremely suitable for experts and ferocious beasts who cultivated dark and cold techniques. Therefore, there were many ferocious beasts in the ancient frigid abyss. There were also many human experts who lived in seclusion here. Along the way, the experts under Hao Yan's command killed all the ferocious beasts and human clan experts they encountered. However, Hao Yan and the others activated the boundary formation of the Boat of Fortune and did not make any noise. Just as Hao Tian and the others entered the third level, they suddenly felt a shocking fluctuation of saint power in front of them. Then, they heard an earth-shattering roar of a bull. Ma Teng, who was beside Hao Tian, opened his heaven's eye. Through the layers of space, he saw a huge golden bull fighting with a group of ferocious beasts. Taurus Longjiao. Ma Teng was surprised. It's Lu Yiping's mount. Oh, Lu Yiping's mount? Hao Tian was stunned. Then, he looked over and his eyes turned cold. It really is Lu Yiping's mount. Then, he began to search for Lu Yiping's whereabouts. After a while, Hao Tian confirmed that Lu Yiping was not around and signaled to Ma Teng with his eyes. Ma Teng understood and respectfully responded. Then, he broke through the air and flew in the direction of Taurus Longjiao. Just a day after Hao Tian and the Heavenly Court experts entered the ancient frigid abyss, Lu Yiping also arrived at the entrance of the ancient frigid abyss. However, when Lu Yiping took out his communication talisman and tried to contact Taurus Longjiao, he did not receive a reply even after a long time. After a while, Lu Yiping tried again, but he still did not receive a reply from Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping frowned, then broke through the cold air and entered the ancient frigid abyss. After entering the ancient frigid abyss, Lu Yiping flew, sensing the changes in the trees while trying to contact Taurus Longjiao. However, the messages he sent to Taurus Longjiao were like stones sinking into the sea. There was no reply. Lu Yiping searched all the way, from the first level to the second level, and then to the third level. When he arrived at the third level, Lu Yiping passed by the place where Taurus Longjiao fought with the ferocious beasts. His heart sank when he felt the remnant energy of Taurus Longjiao in the air. Chapter 422. Lu Yiping circled the space around Taurus Longjiao's remnant energy for a long time, but he did not find any other clues. It seemed like the other party had handled the matter well. The only thing he could confirm was that something had happened to Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping's expression was ugly. He searched for a while more before leaving to continue to the fourth level of the ancient frigid abyss. According to his guess, Taurus Longjiao should still be alive, but was captured by the other party. It was very likely that the other party was still in the ancient frigid abyss. Therefore, as long as he followed the ancient frigid abyss, there was still hope of finding Taurus Longjiao. However, when Lu Yiping reached the seventh level, he still did not find any trace of Taurus Longjiao. Finally, Lu Yiping reached the eighth level. Just as Lu Yiping reached the eighth level, the creation tree in his body shook violently, flickering with light. Ever since Lu Yiping regained the vitality of the creation tree, it had never trembled like this. Lu Yiping was delighted. The main body of the creation tree was indeed in the ancient frigid abyss. Only if the main body of the creation tree was here would the creation tree react so violently. If it was the creation tree, no matter how many pieces there were, the creation tree would not react so violently. Lu Yiping suppressed the excitement in his heart and flew in the direction of the creation tree's reaction. Finally, he arrived in front of an ancient divine mountain. This primordial divine mountain was completely black in color, and it was covered in layers of black ice. These black ice shone with a chilling luster. Under the shocking cold chi of the eighth level of the ancient frigid abyss, the black ice's hardness was comparable to many ancient divine metals. Moreover, it emitted a heart-palpitating black smoke. The cold chi turned into smoke, showing how cold the black ice was. If some immortal emperor experts came into contact with the black ice, they would be instantly frozen by the black ice cold chi. Lu Yiping did not look at the ancient divine mountain. Instead, he looked at the shocking spatial rifts on the top of the mountain. These spatial rifts ranged from a few meters to a few hundred meters. There were tens of thousands of spatial rifts of various sizes, covering the sky above the ancient divine mountain. It was a shocking sight. An astonishing suction force came from these spatial rifts. Even though Lu Yiping was only near the ancient divine mountain, he could feel the terrifying suction force. Lu Yiping estimated that even a Saint Realm expert would find it difficult to escape once they were sucked in. At that time, they would drift forever in the chaotic space. The creation's main body was inside one of the spatial rifts. Lu Yiping didn't dare to be careless. The auspicious cloud hovered above his head, and at the same time, he circulated the immortal skyward art. Light swirled around Lu Yiping's body as he soared into the air, arriving in front of the spatial tear. Immediately, a horrifying suction force made Lu Yiping's figure unsteady for a while. Even the light flowing around Lu Yiping's body was torn apart by this terrifying suction force. Lu Yiping stabilized his body with great difficulty. Looking around, he saw gray turbulence everywhere. Even with his eyesight as a saint, it was difficult for him to see far. Even his eye of thunder punishment could not see through the layers of space here. Even the power of his soul was greatly suppressed here. There was a supreme power here. Even the power of a saint was weak in the face of this supreme power. If Lu Yiping had not been certain that the creation's main body was in the deepest part of this space, he would have turned around and left when he saw the gray turbulence in front of him. Although saints of Tao validation lived as long as the heavens and were almost immortal, it did not mean that saints of Tao validation were immortal. In the universe, there were many powers above saints of Tao validation. Lu Yiping used the creation senses to break through the layers of turbulence and carefully flew forward. As he flew forward, the creation in his body vibrated more and more violently. After flying like this for several hours, Lu Yiping stopped and looked at the scene in front of him in shock. In the void in front of him, there was an unimaginably huge tree standing between heaven and earth. This tree's trunk was as big as a continent. He could not see the bottom of the tree, nor could he see the top of the tree. The giant tree stood between heaven and earth, eternal and indestructible. Lu Yiping had previously imagined the size of the creation's main body, but now that he saw it with his own eyes, he was still shocked. This tree's trunk was as big as a continent. No wonder there were legends of prehistoric races and primordial gods living and reproducing here. While Lu Yiping was shocked, he also could not hide his excitement. If his creation fused with the main body of the creation, then to what extent would his creation grow? Right now, his creation was 400,000 meters. If his creation fused with the main body of the creation, its growth would definitely be more than 10 times. It might even grow to 10 million feet. 100 million feet. Not 10 million feet. If it was 100 million feet, then how many levels would his immortal skyward art have? 100 million feet, what kind of concept was that? Lu Yiping took a deep breath and called out the creation in his body. The creation flew out of his body in joy. Immediately, the creation flew towards the main body of the creation like a wild horse. In the past, when the creation swallowed and fused with the tree chunks, it would suck them all over. But this time, it took the initiative to fly towards the main body of the creation. And when it arrived in front of the main body of the creation, it actually took the initiative to fuse with the main body of the creation. Lu Yiping was stunned. As the creation fused with the main body of the creation, the lifeless main body of the creation suddenly bloomed with rays of light. Moreover, the rays of light grew stronger and stronger. In the beginning, it was only a section of the tree that was emitting light. But soon, the rays of light extended to the main body of the creation at an astonishing speed. It was the top and bottom of the creation. The entire main body of the creation was glowing with vitality. This continued for about an hour. The creation in his body and the main body of the creation had completely fused together. The main body of the creation shone brightly, and the profound yellow aura roiled like a river. Moreover, the profound yellow aura began to transform. Layer by layer, it transformed into a higher grade of gas. Grand Mist Aura. Chapter 423. When the Jianshu flew towards Lu Yiping, it was as if a continent was moving. Shockwaves rolled out and the Grand Mist Aura rolled out like a boundless ocean. When the Jianshu arrived in front of Lu Yiping was like an insignificant speck of dust in front of the Jianshu. Lu Yiping looked at the Jianshu and was even more certain that the immemorial heavenly emperor had used the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel to chop off the Jianshu. With the Jianshu's current terrifying defense, only the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel could cut it. It seemed like the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel were in the hands of the immemorial heavenly emperor. However, if the immemorial heavenly emperor had such supreme treasures, why was the immemorial heavenly court invaded by the long-armed divine ape race and the yin-yang voodoo race? Or was there a hidden reason? As Lu Yiping pondered, he shrunk the Jianshu to the size of a palm and landed in his hand. The palm-sized Jianshu in Lu Yiping's hand blossomed with layers of radiance. The Grand Mist Aura was so dense that it couldn't be dissolved. However, Lu Yiping could feel that the Jianshu in front of him wasn't at its peak. After all, it had been chopped off by the heaven-splitting divine axe or the earth-splitting chisel. Even if it had recovered its vitality, there was still a gap between it and its peak. Moreover, there were definitely many pieces in the hands of the yin-yang voodoo race or in other places. Yin-yang voodoo race. Lu Yiping thought of the yin-yang voodoo race and his eyes became indifferent. Now, he was waiting for the yin-yang voodoo race's holy lord to appear. The Jianshu seeped into Lu Yiping's palm and entered Lu Yiping's body. After putting the Jianshu back into his body, Lu Yiping went back the way he came. He wasn't in a hurry to cultivate the immortal sky wood art. He first looked for the Taurus Longjiao. He had a feeling that the Taurus Longjiao was still in the immemorial cold abyss. However, a few hours later, when Lu Yiping returned to the spatial entrance, he was dumbfounded. The spatial entrance had disappeared. Lu Yiping scanned his surroundings, bewildered. He couldn't have misremembered the spatial entrance's location, but how could it have disappeared? Could it be that this spatial entrance could move on its own? The more Lu Yiping thought about it, the more he felt that it was possible. The more he thought about it, the darker his expression became. Spatial entrances that could move were extremely rare, but they did exist. If he couldn't find the spatial entrance, he would be trapped here forever. Although he was a Tao-confirming sage was not omnipotent. With this in mind, Lu Yiping activated his Eye of Thunder Punishment and saw through the layers of space in an attempt to find a way out. But in this space, his Eye of Thunder Punishment was greatly restricted and he couldn't see through the layers of space. In the end, Lu Yiping had no choice but to summon the Jianshu. He urged the Jianshu's millions of roots to pierce into the deepest part of the space, carefully sensing the changes in this space. With the help of the Jianshu's millions of roots, Lu Yiping sensed the subtle changes in this space. A few days later, he finally found the spatial entrance. A few days later, Lu Yiping came out of the spatial entrance, feeling relieved. After coming out of the space, Lu Yiping continued to fly deeper into the 8th layer. However, he didn't find the Taurus Longjiao until he reached the 10th layer of the immemorial cold abyss. Lu Yiping had no choice but to withdraw from the immemorial cold abyss after his fruitless search on the 10th layer. After exiting the immemorial cold abyss, Lu Yiping thought for a while and came to the largest city nearby. He then asked the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce, the #1 merchant association in the immortal world, to help him find the location of the Taurus Longjiao. After learning that it was Lu Yiping, the president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce hurriedly rushed over and personally promised Lu Yiping that he would use all the resources of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce to help Lu Yiping find the location of the Taurus Longjiao. After that, Lu Yiping cultivated the immortal sky wood art while waiting for news from the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce. Not long after, the news circulated out. The overlord of the immortal world, vast heaven, wanted to gather the experts of the myriad realms for the convention of the myriad realms. When this news circulated out, a huge commotion occurred. I heard that many world overlords from the dragon world, divine world, thunder world, radiant world, and underworld have led their subordinates and rushed over to the immortal world. The convention of the myriad realms, the experts of the myriad realms will gather in the immortal world. How shocking would that scene be? The last time the convention of the myriad realms was held was 5 million years ago, right? In the countless cities of the immortal world, everyone was discussing the convention of the myriad realms. Although the Immortality Peach Banquet organized by the Queen Mother was also a rare event in the immortal world, it was still much inferior when compared to the convention of the myriad realms. The Immortality Peach Banquet invited experts from all over the immortal world. As for the convention of the myriad realms, it was a gathering of all the experts of the myriad realms. As the news of the convention of the myriad realms spread out, the immortal world started to become more lively. Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under the tree and focused on cultivating the immortal sky wood art. He didn't care about what was happening in the outside world. Time flowed by. The date of the convention of the myriad realms gradually approached. Experts from the various realms traversed through the universe and arrived in the immortal world. The immortal world grew more and more lively. When Lu Yiping was focused on cultivating the immortal sky wood art, the president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce reported to him that they found out that the overlord of the immortal world, vast heaven, led a group of experts from the heavenly court into the ancient frigid abyss. Oh, vast heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss a few days ago. Did you find out why they entered the ancient frigid abyss? Lu Yiping stood up. The president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce respectfully replied, "We found out that after Vast Heaven and the others entered the ancient frigid abyss, they fought against the long-armed divine ape race. As for why they fought, we have yet to find out." The long-armed divine ape race is in the ancient frigid abyss? Lu Yiping started. Yes. After the heavenly court was destroyed, the long-armed divine ape race went into seclusion in the 9th level of the ancient frigid abyss. The president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce replied. After that, Lu Yiping asked a few more questions regarding the long-armed divine ape race and vast heaven. Lu Yiping's eyes flashed. Although he couldn't be sure that Taurus Longjiao's disappearance was related to vast heaven, it was too much of a coincidence that Taurus Longjiao went missing on the 2nd day after vast heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss. A while later, Lu Yiping soared into the air, leaving the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce as he flew towards the headquarters of the heavenly court. From the president of the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce, he learned that vast heaven entered the ancient frigid abyss with all the marshals of the heavenly court following him. Hence, whether Taurus Longjiao's disappearance was related to vast heaven or not, he would be able to find out after reading the memories of any of the marshals of the heavenly court. Lu Yiping stared in the direction of the heavenly palace as his eyes turned cold. Vast heaven, let's hope that Xiao Jin's disappearance has nothing to do with you. Otherwise, after the convention of the myriad realms, the heavenly court of the immortal world would cease to exist. As Lu Yiping continued to fly, the heavenly palace of the immortal world gradually appeared in his vision. Right now, it was already noon. The sun shone brightly, illuminating the heavenly palace of the heavenly court. Among the countless palaces in the heavenly court, there were many streets that resembled bridges. This was the heavenly street, and on the two sides of the heavenly street, there were various merchant associations, clans, and sections. Usually, the heavenly street would be extremely lively. It was the most lively place in the immortal world. Now that the convention of the myriad realms was about to begin, the heavenly street was even more lively. Glancing over, there were experts from the various worlds everywhere. There were experts from the immortal world, dragon world, divine world, thunder world, Buddha world. Lu Yiping landed on the heavenly street. Chapter 424. Lu Yiping landed on the heavenly street and followed the flow of people. Because the convention of the myriad realms was approaching, the number of heavenly soldiers patrolling the heavenly street increased by several times. Just as Lu Yiping followed the flow of people, he suddenly heard the people in front whispering to each other. Someone is fighting in front. It seems like someone from the Heaven Origin sect has offended Ma Shuai's son. Right now, he is being slapped by Ma Shuai's son. The people from the Heaven Origin sect are really unlucky, they actually offended Ma Shuai's son. The discussion in front entered Lu Yiping's ears. Lu Yiping's expression sank. The Heaven Origin sect was a sect established by his eldest disciple. However, very few people knew about this. Lu Yiping walked to the front and parted the crowd that was so packed that not even a drop of water could trickle through. Ma Rong was Ma Teng's second son. At this moment, he was letting two of his subordinates grab the arms of a disciple from the Heaven Origin sect. After that, he was slapping that disciple's face. Under Ma Rong's frenzied slaps, that disciple's face was completely deformed. Although Lu Yiping's eldest disciple wasn't weak, he was only at the peak of the late-stage Empyrean realm and had yet to enter the Saint realm. Although the Heaven Origin sect's influence in the immortal world wasn't weak, when compared to Ma Teng, who was the head marshal of the heavenly court, they were much weaker. Hence, when that disciple learned that the person he offended was Ma Rong, he didn't dare to resist. He stood there and allowed Ma Rong to slap him. Just as Ma Rong was about to continue slapping, his hand was suddenly grabbed by someone. Ma Rong wanted to pull his hand out, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't. He couldn't help but turn his head in anger and cursed, "Who the hell is courting death?" When he turned his head, he saw a blue-robed young man holding his hand and looking at him with an indifferent expression. That gaze caused Ma Rong to feel fear in his heart. Ma Rong roared in anger at the guards beside him, "Are you all dead? What are you all in a daze for? Kill this brat for me." Ma Rong's guards regained their senses. However, when Ma Rong's guards rushed to Lu Yiping, all of them were engulfed in golden flames and were swallowed up in the blink of an eye. Ma Rong's group of guards screamed miserably, but in the blink of an eye, they were incinerated cleanly, not even ashes remained. When the surrounding experts saw this, they were all shocked. Among Ma Rong's 40 to 50 guards, almost all of them were immortal emperors. Moreover, there were a few invincible immortal emperors, but they were all incinerated in an instant. Ma Rong was stunned for a moment before his expression changed. Lu Yiping's eyes were cold. He exerted force and crushed Ma Rong's hand. Then, he grabbed Ma Rong's neck and asked, "Is Ma Teng in the residence right now?" Ma Rong was both shocked and angry. Even in the face of Lu Yiping's murderous gaze, he did not dare to speak harshly. With a frightened expression, he repeatedly nodded and said that he was at the marshal's residence. Lu Yiping flicked his finger and sent Ma Rong flying. In mid-air, Ma Rong turned into a bloody mist. Everyone was stunned. This included that disciple from the Heavenly Origin sect. Lu Yiping ignored everyone. He soared through the air and flew towards Ma Teng's martial residence. Ma Teng was a Grand Marshal of the Heavenly Court and was also the head Grand Marshal. Hence, his martial residence was located in the central region of the Heavenly Palace. It occupied a vast area and was incomparably majestic, incomparably dazzling. When Lu Yiping arrived at the martial residence, he saw that Ma Teng's residence was extremely lively. There was an endless stream of people who came to pay their respects. As the head Grand Marshal of the Heavenly Court, Ma Teng was also the right-hand man of vast heaven. Hence, when the experts of the various worlds came to participate in the convention of the myriad realms, almost all of them came to pay their respects to Ma Teng. Leaving aside the fact that Ma Teng was at the peak of the late phase of the Saint Ascension realm, just the fact that Ma Teng was extremely popular with vast heaven, who wouldn't want to curry favor with him? At this moment, Ma Teng was currently in the Great Hall of the martial residence, receiving the experts of the various worlds who came to pay their respects. His face was filled with radiance. Lu Yiping stepped out and walked towards the entrance of Ma Teng's martial residence. When he arrived at the entrance of the martial residence, Lu Yiping was stopped by Ma Teng's subordinates. Ma Teng's subordinate asked Lu Yiping if he had an invitation. When Lu Yiping said that he didn't, the expression of Ma Teng's subordinate sank. Just when he was about to ask Lu Yiping to move aside and not block the path of the people behind him, Lu Yiping suddenly punched out. The fist waves gushed forth, directly blasting the entrance of Ma Teng's martial residence away. After that, the fist waves blasted through numerous fake mountains and courtyards, heading straight for the depths of the martial residence. Ma Teng was currently chatting and laughing with the experts of the various worlds who came to pay their respects when he suddenly heard a thunderous boom. The entire martial residence trembled as a series of screams rang out. He couldn't help but stand up in shock. In the great hall, the people seated there were all peak characters of the various worlds. When they heard the thunderous boom, all of them had looks of shock on their faces. Just as Ma Teng stood up in shock, Ma Teng and the group of experts in the Great Hall saw a massive fist imprint blasted towards the Great Hall at an alarming speed. Ma Teng didn't have time to think. With a loud roar, he punched out with both fists. Saint energy billowed as he met the incoming fist imprint head-on. But in the blink of an eye, the massive fist imprint shattered his fist imprint and wrapped around Ma Teng at an unbelievable speed. Before Ma Teng could react, he was already sent flying by the fist waves. Lu Yiping's fist imprint wrapped around Ma Teng and blasted through the Great Hall. Then, it blasted through layers of palaces, and finally, Ma Teng's martial residence. Originally, in the inner hall, some people like Ma Teng who tried to block the fist imprint with their hands were also sent flying. Looking down from the sky, one could see that Ma Teng's martial residence was plowed into a large empty path. Some of the experts in the Great Hall who managed to escape the calamity stared blankly at Ma Teng who was sent flying. Amidst the billowing dust, Lu Yiping walked into the martial residence. The saint of heaven and earth. Someone in the crowd recognized Lu Yiping and exclaimed in surprise. Chapter 425. After returning from the ancient cold abyss, Hao Tian had already completely refined the bell of chaos that he had taken from Yuan Kong. He had been waiting for Lu Yiping for a long time. A moment later, in the main hall of the heavenly palace, Hao Tian rose to the sky and flew toward the thunder prison of tribulation. At the same time, the other 15 doctrine sages who had received Hao Tian's order also flew up and headed for the thunder prison of tribulation. When the 15 Tao confirming saints flew toward the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation, all the heaven court's saint realm marshals led an army of hundreds of millions to seal off all the space around the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. Hundreds of millions of heavenly army sealed off the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. The murderous aura swept across the entire heaven palace, startling the powerful warriors from different realms. Some of them who didn't know about Ma Teng asked about what was going on. Why did the heavenly court send so many troops to seal off the thunder prison of myriad tribulation? Is there anyone who dares to break into the thunder tribulation prison? It's the Cosmos Saint. The heaven and earth saint killed Marshal Ma Teng as soon as he arrived. Now go to the thunder prison of myriad tribulation. What? Heaven and earth saint? When everyone heard this, their expressions changed greatly. Ever since Lu Yiping defeated the Confucian sage in an invincible manner at the Immortal Peach Banquet, some busybodies claimed that Lu Yiping was now the #1 expert in the immortal world. However, even if the heaven and earth saint is the strongest person in the celestial world, he's only one person. No matter how strong he is, he can't go against the entire celestial world's heavenly court. The saint of heaven and earth killed Marshal Ma Teng and broke into the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation alone. His Majesty Hao Tian won't let him leave. All the experts discussed. In the distance, a vast group of beautiful figures tore through the air and flew over. They were all female immortals, and there were probably 100 million of them. Although the number of female immortals couldn't compare to the hundreds of millions of soldiers of the heavenly court, each of them had an extremely powerful aura that far surpassed the heavenly soldiers and generals. The one leading the female immortals was the extremely beautiful Queen Mother of the West. After the Queen Mother arrived, she instructed the female immortals behind her, "If the heaven and earth saint is no match for him, everyone get ready to fight." The group of female immortals agreed. At this moment, Lu Yiping arrived in front of the Thunder Tribulation prison. The lightning chi in front of him was like a sea, rolling endlessly. The lightning chi stretched as far as the eye could see, and within the lightning chi, lightning danced like dragons. Even before he got close, he could feel the terrifying destructive power contained within. Other than the rolling sea of thunder chi, there was nothing else. This was the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation. From the outside, there seemed to be no one guarding the thunder prison of myriad tribulation, but Lu Yiping knew that there were 100 saints and 100,000 celestial masters in the primal chaos array. These 100 saint realm masters and 100,000 heavenly venerables guarded the primal chaos grand array. Once an enemy invaded, they would activate the primal chaos grand array to kill them all. Lu Yiping looked at the thunder prison of myriad tribulation in front of him with a cold expression. Without summoning the auspicious cloud, he directly punched out. Instantly, a terrifying power surged out. A fist mark swept up layers of air waves, plowing open a golden path of light that was unknown how many tens of thousands of feet wide, and blasted into the sea of lightning energy before him. There was a loud rumble. The sea of thunder chi was instantly sent flying. Those billions of lightning dragons were all reduced to nothingness by the fist wave. The fist wave continued to move forward, and the sea of lightning energy was constantly sent flying. From a distance, it looked like the fist wave was pushing the entire sea of lightning energy back. The heavenly palace was trembling. Above the heavenly palace, the heavenly street for unknown miles was also shaking. In the depths of the sea of lightning energy, the 100 saint realm masters and 10,000 heavenly venerables in the primal chaos grand array frantically activated it in shock and anger. Layers of primal chaos divine lightning surged out, destroying heaven and earth, and collided with Lu Yiping's fist wave. With a loud bang, heaven and earth trembled, and the layers of primal chaos divine lightning were instantly blasted apart by Lu Yiping's fist wave. Lu Yiping's fist wave did not stop and blasted on the chi wall of the primal chaos grand array. The chi wall of the primal chaos grand array exploded. The fist wave plowed through the layers of restrictions of the primal chaos grand array and swept towards the 100 saint realm masters and 10,000 heavenly venerables in the grand array. The 100 saint realm masters and 10,000 heavenly venerables in the grand array were all sent flying by Lu Yiping's fist wave, and then drowned in the rolling thunder chi. As Lu Yiping's fist wave blasted towards the end of the sky, the boundless sea of lightning energy in front of them was completely destroyed by Lu Yiping's fist wave. A wide entrance appeared on the ground of the sea of lightning energy. That was the entrance to the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulation, where Taurus Longjiao was imprisoned. Just as Lu Yiping's fist wave flattened the sea of lightning energy, a figure broke through the sky and arrived. It was Haotian, who had arrived first. Haotian saw from afar that Lu Yiping had flattened the sea of lightning energy and killed the 100 saint realm masters guarding it. His face turned ashen, and his eyes were filled with killing intent. Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping turned to look at Haotian. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air rang out. The other 15 saint realm masters of the heavenly court arrived one after another, forming a circle around Lu Yiping with Haotian. Then, the saint realm masters of the heavenly court arrived. There were more than 400 saint realm masters in total. The heavenly court's army of hundreds of millions poured in from all directions like the sea, completely drowning the world. As the heavenly court's army of hundreds of millions poured in, dense lightning bolts appeared in the sky above the heavenly palace. These lightning bolts were terrifyingly powerful, covering the sky and the sun. It was obvious that Haotian had activated the heavenly palace's grand array. The heavenly palace's grand array was not comparable to the thunder prison of 10,000 tribulations' grand array. Lu Yiping looked at the lightning bolts in the sky with a calm expression. Hao Yin stared at Lu Yiping, his eyes cold to the extreme. Lu Yiping, I've been waiting for you for a long time. Saying this, a light burst out above his head, and a giant bell appeared. When this giant bell appeared, the space around Lu Yiping was completely frozen in an instant. Above the giant bell, the sun, moon, and stars rotated, and the five-colored light illuminated the heavens. Even across the heavenly court's army of hundreds of millions, the masters of various worlds in the distance could see the five-colored light illuminating the heavens. The bell of chaos. The crowd cried out in surprise. Seeing the bell of chaos above Hao Yan's head, Lu Yiping was not surprised. He had already learned from Ma Teng's memories that Hao Yan had seized the bell of chaos. The bell of chaos is an invincible treasure in the universe. Hao Yan looked at Lu Yiping with the bell of chaos above his head and said, "It can reflect all weapon attacks and ignore the power of the great Tao. I am invincible. Lu Yiping, you must die today." At this point, Hao Yan summoned a 17-acre auspicious cloud, filled with holy light and auspicious light. Attack! Hao Yan poured his saint power into the bell of chaos and activated it with all his might. Instantly, the sound of a heaven-shaking bell rang out. This bell rang throughout the immortal realm, and its terrifying power completely locked down the time and space around Lu Yiping. The shocking sound of the bell waves surged toward Lu Yiping in an overwhelming manner. Just as Hao Yan attacked, the other 15 saints of the heavenly court and more than 400 saints attacked at the same time. The 15 saints of the heavenly court summoned their auspicious clouds and used their strongest attacks. More than 400 saints cooperated with the heavenly palace's formation to trigger the lightning in the sky and attack Lu Yiping. Chapter 426. When Hao Yan and the other saints attacked, all the heavenly soldiers and heavenly generals in the heavenly court's army also activated their immortal power and poured it into the heavenly palace's formation. Suddenly, the heavenly lightning that blotted out the sky rumbled and roared, striking down on Lu Yiping. Boundless heavenly lightning rained down from the sky. These heavenly lightning were activated by more than 400 saints and the heavenly court's army at the same time. One could imagine how terrifying their power was. Heaven and earth seemed to be annihilated. In the distance, the experts from various worlds were shocked and they saw the power of Hao Yan's saints and the heavenly court's army. The Queen Mother was also shocked. Just as she was about to order the female immortals to help Lu Yiping, heaven and earth suddenly trembled violently, as if something terrifying was about to break free from the shackles of heaven and earth. Lu Yiping's body glowed with golden light as great Daos flew out of his body. As the great Daos flew out of Lu Yiping's body, heaven and earth trembled even more violently. Everyone was shocked when they saw the great Daos fly out of Lu Yiping's body. Space-time Great Tao. Immortal Great Tao. Devil Great Tao. Reincarnation Great Tao. Five Elements Great Tao. The experts from various worlds cried out involuntarily. Space-time Great Tao was ranked 3rd. Immortal Great Tao was ranked 4th. Devil Great Tao was ranked 5th. Reincarnation Great Tao was ranked 7th. Five Elements Great Tao was ranked 10th. Lu Yiping had actually comprehended 5 of the 10 supreme great Daos. In the myriad worlds, if any saint comprehended one of the supreme great Daos, it would be amazing. However, Lu Yiping alone had comprehended 5. As Lu Yiping's 5 supreme great Daos flew out, Lu Yiping's spacetime, which was originally sealed by the bell of chaos, cracked inch by inch, like invisible chains breaking apart. Lu Yiping's body was surrounded by immortals and devils. This was the power of the immortal Great Tao and the Devil Great Tao. When Hao Tian saw Lu Yiping's 5 supreme great Daos, he was equally shocked. After recovering from his shock, his face turned hideous, and the killing intent in his eyes became even sharper. Even though Lu Yiping had comprehended 5 supreme great Daos, he was still confident that he could kill Lu Yiping within the Sky Palace array. No matter how strong Lu Yiping was, there was no way he could withstand the combined attack of 16 sages. No matter how strong Lu Yiping was, there was no way he could withstand the power of the Heaven Palace's grand formation, which was powered by billions of soldiers. After the 5 supreme great Daos, one great Dao after another flew out from Lu Yiping's body. In an instant, there were 100 types. 100 great Daos. Hao Tian was stunned. During the Feast of Peaches, Lu Yiping had punched the Confucian sage and revealed more than 70 great Daos. This made Hao Tian think that Lu Yiping had only comprehended 70 great Daos. Now that he saw that Lu Yiping had actually comprehended 100 great Daos, his expression turned ugly. Lu Yiping, so what if you have comprehended 100 great Daos? Hao Tian laughed hideously. Today, even the Empress Dowager can't save you. The Empress Dowager had led the female immortals here to save Lu Yiping, and Hao Tian had already seen it. Hao Tian didn't take it to heart. Although the Empress Dowager was the leader of the female immortals, the female immortals under her command were much weaker than his heavenly court. Lu Yiping's expression was calm when he heard this, and great Daos continued to fly out. Under the incredulous gazes of Hao Tian and the others, the number of great Daos around Lu Yiping reached 300 in an instant. 300 great Daos. A sage from the heavenly court said in a trembling voice. The experts from the various worlds in the distance were even more shocked. Even the Empress Dowager's beautiful eyes widened to the maximum, and her round chest heaved up and down. After 300 great Daos, the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head flew out. 18 acres of auspicious cloud. Everyone saw the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head and was shocked again. 18 acres of auspicious cloud was almost the limit of the sage realm. The largest auspicious cloud was 19 acres, but since ancient times, almost no one in the celestial world had been able to condense a 19-acre auspicious cloud. Lu Yiping punched out. The power of the 300 great Daos and the auspicious cloud saint power merged into his fist and surged, colliding with the power of Hao Tian's bell of chaos. Boom! The power of the bell of chaos was dispersed, but Lu Yiping's fist did not stop. It met the power of the other 15 sages of the heavenly court, and with a loud bang, it broke open again. In the end, Lu Yiping's fist scattered the power of more than 400 sages of the heavenly court and blasted towards Hao Tian and the others. Dong! Lu Yiping's fist landed on the bell of chaos. Hao Tian and the others were sent flying. The power of the heavenly court's heavenly palace formation, activated by the heavenly court's army, all stopped when it reached the top of Lu Yiping's head. Endless heavenly lightning rolled and roared above Lu Yiping's head, but it could not fall, as if it had encountered an invisible realm wall. Then, the heavenly lightning was lifted up by an invisible giant hand like a tray, and then shattered into billions of pieces, shooting back towards the heavenly court's army. The heavenly court's army was sent flying, screaming in pain. Hao Tian's 16 sages were sent flying into the heavenly court's army, knocking away countless heavenly court soldiers and generals. As for the more than 400 sages, they were directly turned into a bloody mist by Lu Yiping's fist. The Empress, who was about to order the female immortals to attack, stopped in her tracks, her face full of shock. The powerhouses of the various worlds were shocked. Just now, almost all of the heavenly court's strength was blocked by Lu Yiping alone, and the heavenly court was completely defeated. After sending Hao Tian and the others flying with a punch, Lu Yiping took a step forward, and was already in front of Hao Tian. At this time, the bell of chaos, which was shining with 5-colored light, dimmed, and the 5-colored light had dissipated, and Hao Tian vomited blood. Impossible! Hao Tian looked at Lu Yiping, his eyes full of shock and anger. He had comprehended the great Tao of destiny, had the bell of chaos, and the heavenly court sages, but still lost. Lu Yiping looked at Hao Tian. Although the bell of chaos is said to be invincible, it depends on who has it. You are too weak, you can't use the Bell of Chaos's power. At this point, a huge mountain appeared in Lu Yiping's hand. Mount Buzhou. Hao Tian's expression changed. Mount Buzhou in Lu Yiping's hand instantly expanded, emitting layers of chaos qi, and suddenly smashed towards Hao Tian and the others. Hao Tian frantically activated the Bell of Chaos. The light of the Bell of Chaos increased greatly, and 5-colored light fell, protecting the space around Hao Tian. Dong! Mount Buzhou smashed onto the Bell of Chaos, and the Bell of Chaos flew up, while Hao Tian was smashed into the ground by Mount Buzhou. Just as Lu Yiping said, although the Bell of Chaos was said to be invincible, it depended on who had it. The difference in combat strength between him and Hao Tian was too great. Even with the Bell of Chaos, he couldn't block Lu Yiping's attack. Just as Lu Yiping used Mount Buzhou to smash Hao Tian into the ground, a heavenly quartz Tao-proving sage suddenly flew up, ignoring his serious injuries, and stabbed at Lu Yiping's back with his holy weapon spear. Clang! The other party's spear stabbed Lu Yiping's back. Everyone was surprised. But before the heavenly quartz people could rejoice, they saw that the sage who attacked was sent flying by Lu Yiping. Everyone looked over in shock, and saw great Tao patterns appear on Lu Yiping's body, and an unimaginably huge towering tree appeared in front of everyone. Chapter 427. Looking at this towering tree that was the size of a continent, everyone was so shocked that they couldn't shift their eyes away. Those who came to participate in the convention of the Myriad Realms were all major characters of the Myriad Realms. They had seen countless divine trees before, but this was the first time they saw such a huge tree. The number 1 divine tree in the universe, the Creation Tree. It was also known as the Creation Tree. Creation Tree, it's really the Creation Tree. Lu Yiping actually recovered the vitality of the Creation Tree. A commotion broke out. Everyone was agitated and even excited. The Queen Mother was also stunned when she saw the Creation Tree. Not only did Lu Yiping recover the vitality of the Creation Tree, he even found the main body of the Creation Tree. When Hao Tian, who was smashed into the ground, saw the Creation Tree, his eyes were also filled with shock. He knew that Lu Yiping had recovered the vitality of the Creation Tree, but he didn't expect that the Creation Tree would grow to such an extent. Looking at the Creation Tree, Hao Tian, who originally still had a trace of hope, couldn't help but have a look of despair on his face. At this moment, Lu Yiping controlled the billions of roots of the Creation Tree and whipped them towards the Heavenly Quartz army. The billions of roots of the Creation Tree were like divine whips. The Heavenly Quartz experts were all sent flying. As for the Heavenly Quartz army, they were all turned into blood mist. The roots of the Creation Tree were even stronger than saint weapons. In addition to Lu Yiping's infusion of saint energy, how could the Heavenly Quartz army defend against it? As the billions of roots of the Creation Tree swept past, a large portion of the Heavenly Quartz army was wiped out. This time around, more than billions of soldiers had died. Upon seeing a large portion of the Heavenly Quartz army being wiped out, everyone drew in a breath of cold air. Lu Yiping's expression was cold. He transformed into a towering giant and held the Creation Tree in his hand as he directly slammed it towards the Heavenly Quartz army. A moment later, the Creation Tree rushed into the Heavenly Quartz army. A large area the size of a continent was blasted open, extending all the way to the end of the Heavenly Quartz army. The Celestial Quartz army consisted of the Celestial Quartz most elite soldiers and generals. Any one of their legions could destroy a realm. But now, half of them had been wiped out by Lu Yiping in just a few moves. The rest of the Heavenly Court army looked at Lu Yiping in horror. Although they were loyal to Lu Yiping, the power that Lu Yiping had just displayed was simply too terrifying. Suddenly, Lu Yiping's body flickered with lightning, and a sea of lightning condensed around him. The sea of lightning instantly expanded into a boundless sea of lightning, and with a roar, it surged towards the remaining Heavenly Court army. The Heavenly Court's army fled in fear. However, the heavenly court's army was instantly engulfed by the sea of lightning. Within a few breaths, it was completely devoured. By the time the sea of lightning stopped at the end of the sky, the rest of the heavenly court's army had completely disappeared. At this point, the heavenly court's army was completely annihilated. Lu Yiping retrieved the Jianshu and Mount Buzhou, then came in front of Haotian and pulled him out from the ground. Haotian looked at Lu Yiping, unable to hide the fear in his heart. Lord Lu. Haotian opened his mouth with difficulty. I know you're looking for the Yinba Holy Lord. I can tell you everything I know about the Yinba Holy Lord. Oh, the Yinba Holy Lord. Lu Yiping looked at him. Seeing Lu Yiping's interest, Haotian felt hopeful and said, that's right, and I know that the Yinba Holy Lord has many creation jade discs. Lu Yiping was not surprised to hear this. As the head of the myriad realms, the immortal realm not only had the strongest army, but also the strongest intelligence network. Therefore, it was normal for Haotian to know about the Yinba Holy Lord. Seeing Haotian's hopeful eyes, Lu Yiping sealed his power and threw him into the cauldron of heaven and earth. If he wanted to know the whereabouts of the Yinba Holy Lord, he could just search Haotian's memory fragments. Then, Lu Yiping picked up the heavenly court's saints one by one, sealed their power, and threw them into the cauldron of heaven and earth. Of course, the Bell of Chaos, as well as their sacred artifacts and supreme treasures, were all taken away. That's it. Seeing Lu Yiping put away the Bell of Chaos, everyone could not calm down. This outcome was beyond everyone's expectations. Everyone thought that Lu Yiping would not be able to escape, but they did not expect that the heavenly court would lose. And lose so completely. More than 400 saints and hundreds of millions of soldiers were all annihilated. As for the saints of Haotian, they were all captured. After putting away the Bell of Chaos, Lu Yiping turned and flew toward the entrance of the Thunder Prison of Tribulation. Soon, he arrived at the entrance of the Thunder Prison of Tribulation and flashed in. Everyone looked at Lu Yiping's disappearing figure with mixed feelings. I'm afraid the immortal world is going to be in chaos. An invincible celestial venerable of the immortal world sighed. Now that the heavenly court of the immortal world had lost the saints of Haotian, the heavenly court would definitely be in chaos and the immortal world would definitely be in chaos. Moreover, the Yinba race and the demon world had been eyeing the immortal world covetously. Now that the saints of Haotian were gone, the Yinba race and the demon world would definitely invade the immortal world en masse. Another invincible celestial venerable said in a low voice, with the heaven and earth saint around, the Yinba race and the demon world would probably not dare to invade the immortal world. If news of this battle spread, the Yinba race's holy lord would definitely be too scared to come out. How would they dare to invade the immortal world unless they wanted to be killed by Lu Yiping like Haotian? The heaven and earth saint cannot stay in the immortal world forever. The invincible celestial venerable shook his head and said, when the heaven and earth saint leaves the immortal world, the Yinba race's holy lord will definitely come out and cause trouble. Then he pointed to the sky and said, I heard that the heaven and earth saint actually came from there. He will definitely go back when the time comes. Everyone's expression changed. You mean, the heaven and earth saint came from the chaos realm? A sect's old ancestor stammered, but the chaos realm is just a legend. Legend? Everyone was silent. Although the chaos realm was a legend, many people believed in its existence. Seeing Lu Yiping enter the Thunder Tribulation prison, the Queen Mother hesitated for a moment. When she was about to enter the Thunder Tribulation prison, she saw that Lu Yiping had already come out of the Thunder Tribulation prison. Behind Lu Yiping was a burly golden retriever, Taurus Longjiao. Taurus Longjiao was imprisoned by Haotian in the Thunder Tribulation prison with layers of restrictions. However, these restrictions were useless against Lu Yiping, so Lu Yiping quickly rescued Taurus Longjiao from the Thunder Tribulation prison. There were many Saint Realm experts imprisoned in the Thunder Tribulation prison, but Lu Yiping did not rescue the others. Seeing Lu Yiping come out, the Queen Mother opened her mouth and was about to call him Little Lu, but stopped. Millions of years ago, Lu Yiping had not yet reached the saint realm, so it was appropriate to call him Little Lu. However, the strength that Lu Yiping had just shown was so terrifying that it was obviously inappropriate to call him Little Lu. Should she call him Big Brother Lu? Or Big Brother Lu? While the Queen Mother was hesitating, Lu Yiping saw her from afar and nodded to her. The Queen Mother had led the female immortals to help him just now. After greeting the Queen Mother, Lu Yiping turned and flew to the Heavenly Palace's treasury with Taurus Longjiao. Chapter 428. When everyone saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao flying towards the Heavenly Palace's treasury, they could guess what Lu Yiping wanted to do. Thinking of the countless treasures in the Heavenly Palace's treasury, they couldn't help but feel excited. The immortal world was the leader of all worlds. Hao Tian had been in charge of the immortal world's heavenly court for tens of thousands of years. The treasures in the heavenly court's treasury were absolutely shocking. Should we follow them and take a look? One of the Fire World's experts, the Flaming Emperor, said. The Flaming Emperor was one of the top 10 experts in the Fire World. He was an existence that made people tremble in fear. Forget it. The Lord of the Fire World shook his head. He knew what the Flaming Emperor was planning. He wanted nothing more than to follow Lu Yiping and see if there were any benefits. However, although the Heavenly Palace's treasury was tempting, one had to be alive to take it. Everyone saw Lu Yiping's ruthless methods. He dealt with the Lord of the Immortal World like Hao Tian without batting an eye. Following Lu Yiping to take advantage of the situation was tantamount to courting death. Even so, many experts still followed Lu Yiping from afar, flying towards the Heavenly Palace's treasury. The Heavenly Palace's treasury was guarded by celestial soldiers and celestial generals. When Lu Yiping arrived, he didn't waste any time. He directly destroyed the celestial soldiers and celestial generals with a finger. Then, with a punch, he destroyed the restrictions on the treasury's door and blasted it open. The moment the treasury's door was blasted open, layers of chaotic energy gushed out of the treasury. The auspicious light was astonishing. Clearly, in addition to chaotic items, there were also many sacred items in the treasury. When the experts from various worlds saw the astonishing auspicious light, their eyes burned with passion. Many of them approached the treasury. Taurus Longjiao frowned when he saw the experts from various worlds approaching. He said to Lu Yiping, "Master, how should we deal with these flies?" Lu Yiping turned around and looked at the experts from various worlds behind him. Those experts who were attracted by the auspicious light and chaos chi inside the treasury and couldn't help but come to their senses when they saw Lu Yiping suddenly turn around and look at them. Their faces changed drastically. Just as these people were about to retreat, they saw Lu Yiping snort coldly. Numerous fire dragons appeared out of thin air. There were probably millions of them, and they shot towards the opposite side. They were extremely fast, and arrived in front of these people in an instant. "Retreat!" Someone roared. However, as soon as he roared, he was devoured by the fire dragons. The million fire dragons devoured the tens of thousands of experts in the blink of an eye. After devouring these experts, the fire dragons did not stop and continued to charge towards the experts in the distance who had followed them. The experts who had followed along initially thought that they would be fine as they hid in the distance. But now that they saw the million fire dragons charging towards them, their faces changed drastically. Naturally, these peoples were reduced to ashes as deaths. After killing all these people, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao entered the treasury. After entering the treasury, Huang Xiaolong looked around and saw chaos materials blotting out the sky and covering the earth. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao began to collect these chaos materials and sacred artifacts. The two walked and collected as they went. Even though the two of them kept collecting along the way, it still took them half a day to reach the depths of the treasury. In the depths of the treasury, Lu Yiping saw another Buzhou sky sword. Previously, he had obtained one Buzhou sky sword when he destroyed the demon god palace of the firmament mainland. He didn't know the whereabouts of the other one. He didn't expect to see it here. Later, he would be able to find the treasures of the archaic celestial court after merging the two Buzhou sky swords. Putting away the Buzhou sky sword, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao continued to collect treasures in the depths of the treasury. In the end, the two of them left the treasury after emptying the treasury. After leaving the treasury, Lu Yiping merged the two Buzhou sky swords into one. The merged Buzhou sky sword doubled in size and emitted sword light. Under Lu Yiping's command, the Buzhou sky sword tore through the air. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao immediately followed the Buzhou sky sword out of the palace. Now that the two swords had merged, they would be able to find the treasures of the archaic celestial court as long as they followed the Buzhou sky sword. The archaic celestial court ruled the myriad worlds. Therefore, the treasures of the archaic celestial court were far from what Clear Heaven's palace treasures could compare to. Clear Heaven was only the master of the immortal world, while the archaic celestial emperor was the master of myriad worlds. In addition, Lu Yiping suspected that the archaic celestial court's treasures contained the creation jade disc, and there might even be more than one. When the Queen Mother saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao coming out of the treasury, she originally wanted to go up and chat with them. However, she saw Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao leaving the heavenly palace. Their figures grew further and further away before disappearing into the horizon. Everyone waited for Lu Yiping to leave before they started to discuss amongst themselves. Queen Mother, why don't we return to the Kunlun Mountains first? The maid Little Red saw the Queen Mother standing there unmoving for a long time. She went up and asked carefully. The Queen Mother retracted her gaze, her interest waning. She didn't say anything and flew away. When the female immortals saw this, they followed behind the Queen Mother. After the Queen Mother left, the experts from the various worlds also left with their disciples. The convention of the myriad realms would be held the day after tomorrow. But now, it was impossible for the convention to be held. As the experts from the various worlds left, the heavenly palace became much more deserted. As for Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao, they followed the Buzhou sky sword and flew away. Finally, they exited the immortal world and came to a vast starry space. This vast starry space was filled with stars. But other than that, it was completely empty. There was nothing else here. However, the Buzhou sky sword actually stopped here. Taurus Longjiao had a puzzled look in his eyes. He used his divine sense to search, but no matter how hard he tried, he couldn't find anything. Lu Yiping spoke, "You won't be able to find anything like this." As he spoke, his gaze landed on one of the stars. Chapter 429. Lu Yiping was overjoyed when he sensed the changes in the Fortune Jade Disc. As he had guessed, the Fortune Jade Disc was in the immemorial Heavenly Court's treasury. Moreover, from the reaction of the Fortune Jade Disc, there was more than one Fortune Jade Disc. Following the direction of his senses, Lu Yiping arrived above a palace in the deepest part of the treasury. Looking down from above, this palace was several times larger than the surrounding palaces. Moreover, it had a different kind of aura, as if it was a king surrounded by a group of people. Lu Yiping and Li Qiya landed in front of the palace. Heaven. The word heaven was written above the palace's gate. This word contained the supreme great Tao. Standing before it, people were like ants in the world. Taurus Longjiao felt an invisible pressure pressing down on him, making it difficult for him to move. It seems that the immemorial heavenly emperor had already comprehended the great Tao of heaven. Taurus Longjiao said while looking at the word. Although the great Tao of heaven was not one of the 10 supreme great Taos, it was still one of the top 10 great Taos. Therefore, even if there were no other restrictions in this palace, just the word heaven was enough to stop many saints. Even Taurus Longjiao could not enter. However, a mere heaven was not enough to stop Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping raised his hand and struck the word with his palm. Immediately, the word caved in, sinking deep into the palace's gate. Taurus Longjiao's body lightened, the pressure from before disappearing without a trace. Lu Yiping stepped forward and pushed the palace's gate. The gate opened and the two stepped inside. From the outside, the palace only occupied a few miles, but after entering, it was extremely spacious. There was a huge square in front of them, a square the size of a city. On the square, there were huge jade pillars, carved with all kinds of totems. The two flew forward. After flying for a few minutes, they passed through the square and arrived at a vast hall. The doors to the hall were open, and Lu Yiping went straight in. In the center of the hall was a throne with lifelike carvings of dragons and phoenixes. Whether it was the floor or the surrounding walls, they were all made of the most precious materials of chaos. Taurus Longjiao sighed as he looked at the empty Lingshao palace that used to be filled with experts from various realms. Lu Yiping's gaze fell on the jade box on the table in front of the throne. The good fortune jade disc was in that jade box. Arriving in front of the throne, Lu Yiping picked up the jade box and broke the restriction on it. When he opened the lid, he saw 4 good fortune jade discs placed in the 4 cardinal directions of north, south, east, and west. Looking at the 4 good fortune jade discs in front of him, Lu Yiping smiled. Over the years, he'd searched almost every realm and only found 7 good fortune jade discs. Including the first one he'd found when he was born, he only had 8. Now that he'd found 4, it was a pleasant surprise. Lu Yiping put away the 4 good fortune jade discs and then went to the treasury of the primeval celestial court with Taurus Longjiao. Lu Yiping wasn't disappointed. The treasury contained the spring of life that he'd been painstakingly searching for. There was quite a bit of it, enough for Lu Yiping to squander for a few years. Over the years, after Lu Yiping's nurturing, the first 3 gourds of the rainbow gourd root had matured. With the spring of life, Lu Yiping could nurture the other 4 gourds to maturity within 1,000 years. Inside the immemorial heavenly court's treasury, there were so many treasures that the dragon horn golden bull was dazzled. Even Lu Yiping couldn't help but exclaim. Although the treasury of the immortal world's celestial palaces was astonishing, 10,000 of them couldn't compare to the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Because the two weren't on the same level. Although the treasures in vast heaven's collection were precious, they paled in comparison to the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao began collecting the treasures of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping didn't leave after collecting the treasures of the primeval celestial court. He directly refined the 4 good fortune jade discs in the treasury. The refinement went smoothly. Each of the 4 good fortune jade discs contained 100 great Tao. If Lu Yiping's great Tao was included, it would be a total of 2,100 great Tao. However, after refining the good fortune jade discs, Lu Yiping wasn't in a hurry to comprehend the great Tao in the 4 good fortune jade discs. Instead, he released Vast Heaven 16. After Vast Heaven was released, he couldn't help but look around in bewilderment. This is the treasury of the primeval celestial court? Vast Heaven asked uncertainly. That's right. Lu Yiping said. Vast Heaven 16 were shocked to hear that Lu Yiping had found the treasury of the primeval celestial court. Lu Yiping didn't waste any time. He directly pulled Vast Heaven in front of him and began to look through his memory fragments. Soon, Lu Yiping finished reading Vast Heaven's memory fragments. Although Vast Heaven knew a lot about the Yinba Holy Lord, he wasn't sure of his exact whereabouts. Vast Heaven could only be sure that the Yinba Holy Lord was hiding in the immortal world, but he couldn't find out which sect or clan he was hiding in. Afterward, Lu Yiping looked through the memory fragments of the other 15. Although the other 15 had a lot of information about the Yinba Holy Lord, they didn't know where he was either. After not knowing where the Yinba Holy Lord was, Lu Yiping summoned Jian Shu and threw Vast Heaven 16 for Jian Shu to devour. In the midst of their frenzied struggle, the saint energy, great path energy, and saint body origin of the 16 people were all completely devoured by Jian Shu. Soon, there were 16 more Dao fruits on Jian Shu. Lu Yiping sat cross-legged under Jian Shu, took vast heaven's Dao fruit, swallowed it, and began to cultivate with the longevity incantation. As the Lord of the immortal world, vast heaven's saint power, great Dao power, and saint body origin were much stronger than the Confucian saints. Therefore, his Dao fruit was much more effective than the Confucian saints. Suddenly, the auspicious cloud above Lu Yiping's head shone brightly. The original 18 acres of auspicious cloud began to expand to 19 acres. When Lu Yiping finished refining vast heaven's Dao fruit, the auspicious cloud finally broke through to 19 acres. However, after reaching 19 acres, Lu Yiping's auspicious cloud stopped growing. 19 acres of auspicious cloud was the limit of a saint, so no matter how he cultivated, he couldn't break through. Unless Lu Yiping could break through to the Saint King realm. However, due to the rules of the universe, the highest realm was Saint King realm. Therefore, if Lu Yiping wanted to break through to the Saint King realm, he had to go to the Chaos realm. After the auspicious cloud reached 19 acres, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left the Archean Celestial Court's palace and returned to the demonic Bull Mountain of the immortal world. They went into seclusion to comprehend the great Tao in the 4 creation jade discs. At the same time, Lu Yiping asked the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president to help him find out everything about the Yinba Holy Lord. However, even vast heaven couldn't find out where the Yinba Holy Lord was, so the 7 Treasures Chamber of Commerce couldn't find out even if they used all their resources. Hundreds of years passed in the blink of an eye. Chapter 430. Over the past several hundred years, Lu Yiping had fully comprehended the great Daos in the 4 newly acquired plates with the help of Jianshu's primordial energy. As for Taurus Longjiao, he'd refined a Dao fruit in the past few hundred years. With the help of Jianshu's primordial energy, his strength had increased considerably. However, despite refining a Dao fruit, Taurus Longjiao was still a long way off from breaking through to the Sage realm. 1 or a few Dao fruits weren't enough to break through to the Sage realm. Otherwise, the primeval celestial court would have been full of sages long ago. Without Haotian and the various sages, the celestial court had long since collapsed. The various factions in the world of immortals were in constant conflict, and the flames of war had engulfed the entire world. However, there was no movement from the Yinba race or even the demon realm. Lu Yiping's eldest disciple had moved the entire Tian Yuan school to the vicinity of Demon Ox Mountain to avoid being affected by the war in the immortal realm. Even Qin Wanli of the Qin family of the Yaya continent had moved his entire family to the vicinity of Demon Ox Mountain. Currently, only Demon Ox Mountain and its surroundings were unaffected by the flames of war in the entire world of immortals. After fully comprehending the great Daos in the 4 plates, Lu Yiping didn't continue his seclusion. He planned to walk around with Taurus Longjiao and see if they could find the Yinba Holy Lord. After all, waiting around like this wasn't a solution. Niu Yi entered just as Lu Yiping was about to go out for a walk. Master Lu, the Queen Mother is outside. Would you like to see her? The Queen Mother had visited 7 times in the past few hundred years that Lu Yiping had been in seclusion on Demon Ox Mountain. Lu Yiping had used seclusion as an excuse to not see her in the past few hundred years. Master, why don't you see Big Sister Wang? Taurus Longjiao smiled with a frown. It'll relieve her of her lovesickness. Lu Yiping glared at him. You talk too much. There's no fruit for you to eat in the future. Taurus Longjiao was rendered speechless. However, in the end, Lu Yiping still met Mother Wang. When the Empress saw Lu Yiping, she opened her mouth and said, "My master knows that you like wine and has prepared some good wine at Sky Gazing Mountain. He wants to invite you over for a chat." Lu Yiping arrived at the peak of Demon Ox Mountain. Looking at the drifting clouds in front of him, he shook his head and said, "I have nothing to talk about with your master." When the Queen Mother heard Lu Yiping's reply, disappointment filled her face. Lu Yiping had tactfully rejected her. A moment of silence. The Queen Mother asked again, "When are you going back?" She was referring to Lu Yiping's return to the Chaos World. Others might not know about Lu Yiping's identity, but she knew that Lu Yiping came from the Chaos World's Lu family. Back then, Lu Yiping had left the primal Chaos realm for some reason, but she knew that Lu Yiping would return sooner or later. Lu Yiping said in a low voice, "I'll return after dealing with the Inba Sacred Lord." These days, he had been thinking about returning to the Chaos World, but the matter of the Inba Sacred Lord hadn't been resolved yet. As long as he dealt with the Inba Sacred Lord, it would be time for him to return. When Mother Wang heard that Lu Yiping would return after dealing with the Inba Sacred Lord, she wanted to say something but stopped. A moment later, Mother Wang left Demon Ox Mountain. When she left, her charming face couldn't hide her disappointment. After she left, Taurus Longjiao came to Lu Yiping's side and said in a low voice, "Master, actually, what happened back then wasn't Big Sister Wang's fault." "I know," Lu Yiping said as he looked into the distance. "However, some things have already happened. Since they have already happened, there is no turning back, and there is no way to change them." Taurus Longjiao didn't say anything else. Half a day later, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao left Demon Ox Mountain and began to wander around the immortal world. The Inba Sacred Lord had the creation Jade Disc, so as long as he continued to wander, he would be able to find the Inba Sacred Lord one day. Now that he had 12 creation Jade Discs, his sensing range had greatly increased. At most, he would be able to find the Inba Sacred Lord in a few decades. Unless the Inba Sacred Lord had already left the immortal world. However, the Inba Sacred Lord had been dormant in the immortal world for many years and couldn't leave so easily. After a few months of wandering, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao received a message from the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president. After reading the message from the Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce, Lu Yiping revealed a smile. Taurus Longjiao saw Lu Yiping's smile and couldn't help but take a closer look. He was stunned. The Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch is the Inba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple. The Seven Treasures Chamber of Commerce's president said that he had found out that the Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch was the Inba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple. This was a pleasant surprise. Since the Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch was the Inba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple, then he might know the whereabouts of the Inba Sacred Lord. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao immediately headed to the Hailan Immortal Sect. The Hailan Immortal Sect was a large sect in the immortal world and was quite powerful. The Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch was a pinnacle saint expert who could enter the immortal saint realm at any time. After arriving at the Hailan Immortal Sect, Lu Yiping didn't waste any time. He directly entered the Hailan Immortal Sect's ancestral ground and captured the patriarch in front of him, then searched his memories. The Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch was indeed the Inba Sacred Lord's eldest disciple, but he didn't know the exact whereabouts of his master. After killing the Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch, Lu Yiping had Taurus Longjiao destroy the Hailan Immortal Sect before heading to the Rao Ping continent. The Rao Ping continent was close to the immortal world's heavenly court and was a very prosperous continent. Although the Hailan Immortal Sect's patriarch didn't know the exact whereabouts of the Inba Sacred Lord, Lu Yiping deduced from his memories that the Inba Sacred Lord was most likely on the Rao Ping continent. Not long after arriving at the Rao Ping continent, the fortune jade disc in Lu Yiping's body shook violently as expected. Lu Yiping followed his senses and came to a valley. The valley was quiet like a paradise. In the valley, a young man in a scholarly robe was flipping through an ancient book. Just as he was engrossed in the book, the sky suddenly darkened. He looked up and saw a huge mountain falling from the sky. Mount Buzhou. The young man looked at the huge mountain falling from the sky and didn't have time to think. He immediately flew into the sky. However, as soon as he flew out of the valley, Lu Yiping punched him and sent him flying. There was a loud boom. After smashing through the mountains, the young man stopped at the end. After a short pause, he flew out of the mountain rocks. There was blood at the corner of his mouth, and his face was covered in dust. He looked at Lu Yiping gloomily. Lu Yiping. Lu Yiping looked at him. Sacred Lord of the Yinba, Sacred Lord. The young man was the Sacred Lord of the Yinba, Sacred Lord. He smiled and his eyes were cold. How did you find this place? Lu Yiping didn't answer. There was a cloud above his head, and on the cloud were 12 fortune jade discs. Seeing the fortune jade discs above Lu Yiping's head, the Sacred Lord of the Yinba, Sacred Lord, understood everything. He said in a low voice, I see. He stared at Lu Yiping. However, Lu Yiping, so what if you found this place? If I want to leave, you can't stop me. Then, the cloud above his head was shocking. The Sacred Lord of the Yinba, Sacred Lord's cloud was the same as Lu Yiping's. It was 19 acres, which was the limit of the Saint Realm. Chapter 431. Next, the great Tao around the Sacred Lord of the Yinba clan rose and fell. There were exactly 200 great Taos, and many of them were ranked in the top 100. I know you've comprehended the time and space great Tao and can seal time and space. However, I've also comprehended the time and space great Tao like you, the Sacred Lord said coldly. Your time and space great Tao is useless against me. Among the 200 great Taos, there were 2 great Taos. They were the time and space great Tao and the reincarnation great Tao. At this moment, a spaceship appeared around the Sacred Lord. It wasn't big, but it emitted a terrifying aura. Great Void Spaceship, Lu Yiping said slowly as he looked at the spaceship. The Great Void Spaceship was one of the most valuable treasures in the world. It was as powerful as the Chaos Bell. However, the Chaos Bell was both offensive and defensive, while the Great Void Spaceship's power was mainly reflected in its speed. Other than the vast divine boat, the Great Void Spaceship was the fastest thing in the world. No wonder the Sacred Lord said that if he wanted to leave, Lu Yiping wouldn't be able to stop him. That's right, Great Void Spaceship. The Dark Borer Race's Holy Master wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his eyes were cold. Lu Yiping, I will remember that punch. After saying this, he drove the Great Void flying ship with all his might and tore through the void to leave. However, as soon as the Great Void Spaceship moved, Lu Yiping arrived in front of him and punched out. 1,000 great Taos flew out along with Lu Yiping's punch. Instantly, the Great Void Spaceship was sent flying by Lu Yiping's punch. The Divine Master of the Yinba race was also blasted away. He crashed into the Void Spaceship and was buried by the rolling rocks. This time, the Sacred Lord didn't get up for a long time. After a while, the rocks broke open and the Sacred Lord flew up. He looked at Lu Yiping with fear in his eyes. 1,000 great Taos. Lu Yiping walked toward him. With a flick of his hand, the Great Void Spaceship appeared in front of him. Seeing this, the Sacred Lord of the Yinba race tried to recall the Void Spaceship. However, no matter how hard he tried, the Void Spaceship did not respond. Lu Yiping took a step forward and arrived in front of the Saint Lord of the Yinba race. With a slap of his hand, the Great Void Ship turned into a streak of light and blasted towards the Saint Lord of the Yinba race. Before the Saint Lord of the Yinba race could dodge, he was hit by the Great Void Ship and was sent flying again. The Sacred Lord of the Yin-Yang Borer race, Qingyun, had 19 acres of land and 200 great Taos. There was no need to doubt his strength. Unfortunately, he had encountered Lu Yiping. In front of Lu Yiping, he had no chance to fight back. After sending the Dark Vile race's Holy Master flying, Lu Yiping arrived in front of him. He slammed Mount Buzhou down and blasted the Dark Vile race's Holy Master into the ground. After a few more strikes, Lu Yiping pulled the Dark Vile race's Holy Master out. Looking at the dying Dark Vile Race's holy master, Lu Yiping first sealed his power and then searched his body for the 3 good fortune jade discs. The good fortune jade discs of the Dark Vile Race's holy master were hidden in his body. If it was an ordinary saint, even if he knew that there was a good fortune jade disc in his body, he would not be able to take it out. After taking out the 3 good fortune jade discs from the Dark Vile Race's holy master, Lu Yiping immediately looked at his memory fragments. Then, he summoned the Tree of Creation and began to devour his saint power, great Tao energy, and saint body origin energy. Feeling the saint power, great Tao energy, and saint body origin energy in his body being devoured, the Dark Vile Race's holy master laughed eerily. He said, "Lu Yiping, even if I die, there will be another more powerful holy master soon." You can't destroy the Dark Vile Race. Is that so? Lu Yiping's expression did not change. He knew what the Dark Vile Race's holy master meant. The Dark Vile Race was spread across thousands of worlds, and it was impossible to kill them all. Even the Dark Vile Race's holy master only knew the main branches of the Dark Vile Race in each world. He did not even know about some of the smaller branches. However, Lu Yiping was not worried. When the time came, he would kill them one by one. He did not believe that he would not be able to destroy the entire Dark Vile Race. After a while, the Tree of Creation had completely devoured the Dark Vile Race's holy master's saint power, great Tao energy, and saint body origin energy. A new fruit grew on the Tree of Creation. This fruit was much bigger than Hao Tian's great Tao fruit. Earlier, Lu Yiping had devoured Hao Tian's great Tao fruit, and then he had given one to Taurus Longjiao. He had 14 left. Now, with the Dark Vile Race's holy master, he had 15. When he returned to the chaotic realm, Lu Yiping would use these 15 great Tao fruits to break through to the Saint King realm. Then, Lu Yiping used the great Tao of fire to burn the Dark Vile Race's holy master to ashes. At this point, the most powerful person of the Dark Vile Race had completely fallen. Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao found an alternate space that the Dark Vile Race's holy master had built in the valley. In the alternate space were the treasures of the Dark Vile Race's headquarters. The treasures inside were shocking. Although they could not be compared to the treasures of the Archean Celestial Court, they were more than the treasures of Hao Tian's Celestial Court. Most importantly, there were many Tree of Creation and Buzhou Mountain stones in the Dark Vile Race's headquarters. Lu Yiping looked at the endless Tree of Creation and summoned the Tree of Creation. He began to devour and fuse with the Tree of Creation. After fusing with these Tree of Creation, his Tree of Creation could almost recover to its peak strength in the Archean era. At that time, he could use the Tree of Creation to travel through the myriad worlds. He could go to any world he wanted. He did not need to travel across the galaxy. Sure enough, after devouring and fusing with the Tree of Creation, the Tree of Creation grew again and transformed. Some of the branches were densely packed with great Tao runes and connected to form spatial doors. There were exactly 10,000 of these spatial doors that could lead to the myriad worlds. After that, Lu Yiping used Buzhou Mountain to fuse with the Buzhou Mountain stones in the treasury. Buzhou Mountain grew to 100,000 feet tall. Like the Tree of Creation, Buzhou Mountain had almost recovered to its peak strength in the Archean era. In the following days, Lu Yiping and Taurus Longjiao used the Tree of Creation to travel to the immortal, Buddhist, Dragon, Thunder, Devil, and Hell realms. They wiped out the Dark Vile Race in each world. At the same time, Lu Yiping refined the 3 creation jade discs from the Dark Vile Race's sacred lord and comprehended the great Tao within. In the blink of an eye, dozens of years passed. With the help of the spatial doors of the Tree of Creation, Lu Yiping traveled across the myriad worlds and wiped out all the Dark Vile Race in the myriad worlds. After wiping out a world, Lu Yiping would only go to the next world after confirming that there were no more Dark Vile Race. After wiping out all the Dark Vile Race in the myriad worlds, Lu Yiping once again returned to the demonic Bull Mountain in the immortal world to cultivate in seclusion. In these dozens of years, he traveled across the myriad worlds and found another 5 creation jade discs. From start to finish, he had a total of 20 creation jade discs. He only needed 4 more to collect all the creation jade discs. However, he had only found 5 creation jade discs after traveling across the myriad worlds. The other 4 should be in the chaos realm. While comprehending the creation jade discs, Lu Yiping saw that the immortal world was in constant chaos. He rebuilt the immortal world's heavenly court to suppress the myriad worlds. After Lu Yiping rebuilt the heavenly court, the immortal world gradually stabilized. Seeing that the immortal world was stable, Lu Yiping decided to return to the chaos realm. You're tuning in to the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.